What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I got to have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for sleeves a little tighter than usual. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels, and as usual, I am tapping in from one of my lovely residences, soon to be second residence, from downtown in Detroit, because I am moving back into the city. I'm not getting rid of this place, but moving back into the city nevertheless. And it is cold outside, and so there is a Lakers game tonight in which I don't really want to go. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people know that I have season tickets over to the Lakers. Not to the Lakers. Season tickets to the Pistons. And as long as they're on this losing streak, I am genuinely losing interest and desire and what's going on that front. So I don't know if I want to give my tickets away because I didn't even go to the Monday game against the Wizards. But the Lakers only roll in one time. I did go to the Denver game because I wanted to see Jokic. And then they threw Jokic out, and I was even more pissed. So I'm just, I'm honestly, you can't throw Jokic out before halftime when they only come once a year, and the referees is out of control. So I don't know if I'm going to sell my tickets because I can probably get about $5,000 for my tickets. Last year I got $6,000 for my Golden State tickets, and so I don't know. I got to figure it out. I got to figure out what I want to do. I don't know if I want to give them away. I don't know if I'm actually just going to go to the game. So, but it's cold outside. It's absolutely cold outside, and I can't wait to get down to Miami in the middle of December. So y'all know that Miami is my second home. Dallas is my third home. And then on top of that, yesterday I had an opportunity to do some volunteer work. So shortly before I got back out here to the suburbs, I had an opportunity to do some volunteer work. So I'm starting to get back into the groove of things now that I have more time, now that I don't have to focus on certain things like Fight Club, and I've gotten the right people in place in order to hire them and to do certain things for other parts of my businesses. I had an opportunity to do some volunteer work, and I just so happened to do the volunteer work on one of the coldest days of the year so far. And y'all got to make sure that y'all keep people in your prayers, help others where you can. Of course, I always advocate for being selfish before you be selfless. But it's a lot of people, especially when you live on the East Coast and the Midwest. It's a lot of people that we're one paycheck away from losing everything. And it's the reason why I'm so adamant about financial literacy and giving people the game. And I don't want you to just be in survival mode or to be okay. I want you to thrive, right? I'm very blessed. There's a lot of bag chasers and people that participate and see on my show on a daily basis that are very blessed. I have multiple different streams of income. I'm literally dialed into my corporate job right now because I don't believe that there should be a limit whatsoever. Yes, I am. Yes, I am dialed into this. You know how these computers be, man. You know how these computers be. You know how they be. So dialed into the corporate position and all of that. And so we got to make sure that we get to the bag on that front. And we running it up. You know what I'm saying? So very blessed, very thankful to continue to be able to do what I do. But y'all got to make sure that y'all keep everybody else in y'all prayers, because there's a lot of people that need and could absolutely use our help, or maybe just need a little bit of a leg up so they can get to the next level or whatever like that. So keep people in y'all prayers if y'all can. If y'all have some extra time, do some volunteer work, uh, and get to it. You know what I'm saying? It's never a shortage of opportunity for us, and so because there is no shortage of opportunity for us, um, maybe we can help other people and be blessed in that way also. You know what I'm saying? So let me see something real quick. Just want to make sure something. Make sure that we got everything set up to go and rock and roll. All right, so we all good. We all ready to rock and roll. And let's run it up. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my guy Mike, that dude that always hold us down. Thank you, Mike, that dude, on Cash App. I will be reading super chats throughout the show. Miss Crow T. Shetty is in the building and said, shout out to you. And she sent that 4 ball. Thank you, Miss Crow T. Shetty. You always holding us down. I appreciate y'all. Somebody in the chat is asking if I'm going to address somebody else out there in the streets. No, I'm not. Let me tell you something. I'm not the type of person, even when people talk about me, and then we're going to get into the show after that. Even when people talk about me negatively and they look to build up their own channels or whatever like that off of me, I am never the type of person, and I'm not going to mention no names. I'm not the type of person, or maybe I've just evolved and I've grown, but I've never been the type of person to kick somebody when they down. If somebody says that they homeless, if somebody says that they going through something, if somebody loses their job, I believe in spirited competition, especially online. I believe in going back and forth, and more importantly, I believe in competing when we talking about specific talking points and we doing our thing. But I'm not the type of person that's going. I don't care how bad you talk about me. I don't care what you say. I don't care how many videos you make. One thing about me is that, especially people that are down, I don't kick people when they in jail. I don't kick people when they lose their homes. I don't kick people when they lose their families. And I do not kick people when they lose their jobs or they on hard times. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not really trying to participate and trying to find out. I'm not getting into that. I do not advocate for people to suffer, right? I think that people should be able to feed their families. Hopefully, they can make smart decisions. But I'm never the type of person to gloat in somebody else's demise. I just would just not comment. I just will not have a conversation about it. Again, I'm too blessed, man. I'm so blessed. I am very much in a great space to where I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate. Um, I'm in a good space. And so when somebody is losing their resources or revenue, or they homeless, or they having problems in family court, whatever it is that you may be going through, even if you did something and you end up in jail and you deserve it, and I say, yeah, you deserve to go to jail, I'm not a person that's going to like advocate for you to suffer. I'm just not that type of dude. So, I hope everybody finds shelter, that they, you know what I'm saying, get back on their feet, that whatever it is that you need to fix in your life, whoever it is out there, if you're going through something, even if it's a self-inflicted wound, you can recover from it, you can get back on your feet, and everybody can become better people as a result of it. All right. So God bless everybody. I hope y'all doing well. Let me read one more super chat for the people that's holding me down, and we're going to get into the show. My dog, Mr. Lot. I was on Mr. Lot head yesterday. What did they say? Pause. Pause. I was on my guy's head. Shout out to Mr. Lot. I appreciate you. He said I appreciate the coaching as always, bro. Absolutely, man. It's time to get it, man. We have a unique opportunity to really be able to take advantage of a space in our life where we can really take care of business, and so we cannot waste time. And success is when opportunity meets preparation. All right, so let's get into it. Let's dive into the show. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I did post, as promised, the live stream that we did, the recording of the live stream that we did for all of the business pitches. I will be sending out checks in the form of $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to everybody that won. So congratulations to y'all. If you are a person that pitched a business and you did not respond to the corresponding email that we sent out to you guys in order to get your funding, then do so, and then we're going to make sure that at the beginning of the month, everybody get their checks. All right? Beginning of next week, everybody get their checks. Also, dropping a new video inside of the Patreon within the next 3 days. Got a lot of recordings going on, so it's a lot coming, guys. Make sure y'all tapped in. If you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, if you're not a Patreon member, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, shout out to Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. We appreciate you, Teach, for always sponsoring the channel, sponsoring this next segment that's coming up, Quick Hits. And let me read one more super chat, and then we're going to go ahead and get it popping with the show because we got some controversial topics that we need to tackle really quickly. Moy Freestyle Life says, thanks for all of the positivity you bring into the table, brother. No, thank you for supporting the platform. Thank you for holding us down. Thank you to everybody that support. You guys know I don't ask for super chats, but you guys see value in what it is that we do here, and so I have to acknowledge everybody, no matter if you spend a dollar or you send $500. I'm always going to support the people that support the platform. So shout out to y'all. And let me just say this: one more piece of housekeeping before we get into the show. It's a guy, and I gave y'all a little bit of a preview on my other channel last night. It's a guy named Yada Awakening. I appeared on highly initiated. I think that's the name. Highly initiated or something like that. A couple days ago on Monday, and so now he's saying that he won't smoke. So I'm gonna be his Huckleberry. Make sure y'all tune into the live stream tonight on my Anton Daniels channel. I think it's gonna be a hoot. I think it's gonna be a hoot. Listen, I'm always in the mood for spirited conversation, and this man decided that he wanted to not only mention me, but he wanted to mention the late great Kevin Samuels. You know, I'm always itching for an opportunity to engage. So he seems like he's a worthy opponent. He's been through a few rebrands. People have sent me some information. So we're gonna bring him to the front of the congregation and his kind. We're gonna bring him to the front of the congregation tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. If I decide to go to the Lakers game, don't worry. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be right there. 10 o'clock tonight, 9:45, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, Anton Daniels channel. Tune in. We're gonna have some fun tonight, all right? All right, so let's go ahead and get into the show. If you guys have not already, make sure you share it, like, subscribe, and let's get to it. All right, let's rock out. So you guys know how we do it. First things first, before we get started with the show, we got to get started with quick hits. Quick Hits is the segment of the show where I bring you guys news that's happening across America, but then at the same time, we don't necessarily want to dedicate an entire segment to it. So we just gonna give you the little quick hits based off of what's happening out here in these streets. First and foremost, Charlie Munger. Now, a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with Charlie Munger, but Charlie Munger was Warren Buffett's right-hand man. Some people may not be familiar with Warren Buffett because they're not necessarily in tune or they're just discovering the show and you're just now starting to get into your financial literacy journey. Don't let nobody shame you. If you're just now starting to get into your financial literacy journey, you're starting to divest yourself against the toxic things that was for you. You're starting to get a little bit more interested and so on and so forth. We are for everybody here over at the Millionaire Morning Show, and more importantly, the Bag Chasers over at the Patreon. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly, right? We're for everybody over here. So Warren Buffett is one of the greatest investors of all time. He is the father of Buffetology, which is basically leveraging compound interest in order to get incredibly rich, right? But to a lesser known degree, not to those in the financial community, but to a lesser known degree, Charlie Munger was his right hand man. I mean, they were like peas in a pod. They were, you know what I'm saying, like together. And Warren Buffett often cites Charlie Munger as the catalyst or one of the people, if he did not have Charlie Munger by his side, that is no way he would have been able to build Berkshire Hathaway, which basically made both of them billionaires. All right. So let me just give you a little bit of insight of what's going on from a video perspective of who Charlie Munger is and what happened.
Here we have some sad news to share. Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman and Warren Buffett's longtime business partner and close friend, has died at the age of 99, just a little more than a month shy of his 100th birthday. Berkshire Hathaway just releasing a statement. Berkshire Hathaway a few minutes ago was advised by members of Charlie Munger's family that he peacefully died this morning at a California hospital. Warren Buffett says in the release, quote, Berkshire Hathaway could not have been built to its present status without Charlie's inspiration, wisdom, and participation. Munger was well known for his one-liners at the annual Berkshire Hathaway meetings and for packing the house at his own Wesco and then daily journal meetings. A man of deep knowledge, Munger worked as a lawyer before moving into investing. Munger had 8 children and countless fans.
Charlie Munger died at 99 years old. That is a very, very much of a blessing. Very few people get to live and then die peacefully in a hospital or in their home at 99 years old. And they said it'll be impossible to fill the conglomerate's well-established succession plan as far as Berkshire Hathaway. But he died peacefully at a hospital in California where he lived and no cause was given. He would have been 100 years old on January 1st. They say Berkshire could not have built its present status without Charlie's inspiration, wisdom, and participation. Buffett, who was 93 years old himself, he said that in a statement, and they said the death of Munger, Berkshire vice chairman since 1978, marks the end of an era in corporate America and investing. So, yep, Charlie Munger, one of the greatest financial minds of our time, has passed away. Rest in peace to Charlie Munger. And we wish his family well. He had 8 children. All right. In addition to that, Mark Cuban is largely rumored to be selling the Dallas Mavericks or a portion of the Dallas Mavericks.
All right, just actually getting off the phone. Got some breaking news in the world of sports, literally breaking right now. Billionaire Mark Cuban, obviously well known to the CNBC audience, is selling his majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks to the Adelson family. I can confirm that. CNBC can confirm that deal. Now, Cuban paid $285 million for the team in 2020. Guys, that's not a report. We have got this. I'm confirming it right now. CNBC confirms that Mark Cuban selling his majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks to Marion Adelson. Now, there's some. Let's just kill the prompter, guys, because I just got off the phone and I'm going to tell you what I just learned. There's some interesting dynamics to this deal, okay? You're going to hear that the valuation is $3.5 billion, which seems low for an asset like the Dallas Mavericks. But here's why this is the most unusual sale, I think, in the history of the modern NBA. Mark Cuban is going to retain control of basketball operations. So that he'll still have a minority stake in the Mavericks, but will have operational control over the team and its operations. What does that mean? Well, according to my sources, what that means is that while Miriam Adelson and the Adelson family will be the majority owners of the Dallas Mavericks, the team, drafts, everything else, will be run still by Mark Cuban. Now, Mark, if you're out there watching the program, you know where to find us. Feel free to call in anytime over the next 38 and a half or so minutes. We'd love to hear your take on this as well. And this is interesting because Mark Cuban also just announced recently that he is stepping down from Shark Tank after this upcoming season, which will be his 16th. So in a matter of 2 days, Mark Cuban says, you know what? Last season of Shark Tank, I'm going to be selling my majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks.
So Mark Cuban is basically selling a majority stake to the Dallas Mavericks to a woman named Miriam Adelson, but he's going to retain control of the team. He first purchased the team for $285 million in the year 2000. So, but he's still going to remain over the head of it, and he's going to control it. But the Mavericks was last valued by Forbes at $4.5 billion. Marion Adelson had sold about $2 billion worth of stock in a company earlier this year with the goal of buying into a sports team, according to CNBC, and she's purchasing into the Dallas Mavericks at a $3.5 billion valuation. Now, Mark Cuban spoke a lot about the idea of having an environment where a sports team basically lives within some form of gambling or live gaming that allows for them to be able to leverage both in order to continue to run the backup. So I don't know what the play is. This is the news that's being reported. So it should be interesting to see how this plays out. And then last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Apple. So Apple is basically ending its partnership with Goldman Sachs for the Apple Card. And we don't know what the future of the card is going to be. Let me give you a little bit of insight of what's going on with Apple, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, welcome back on this very busy news night. Another major story is developing ahead of tomorrow. Apple sending a proposal to try to end its partnership on its credit card with Goldman Sachs. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. Steve Kovac is here with more on this breaking news. Could we have more breaking news tonight, by the way? Steve, thanks for sticking around.
This is what's great about this business, right? So let me just give you a breakdown what's going on here. Apple is trying to get out of that partnership with Goldman. WSJ reporting companies sent a term sheet to Goldman in an attempt to unwind the deal that started back in 2019 with the launch of what else? The Apple Card. That partnership deepened in April of this year with the launch of a high-yield savings account that lets you take the cash back from the Apple Card, put it into a savings account with a 4% return. Apple said in August customers had already deposited $10 billion in those accounts. Apple and Goldman now have to work out the terms of an exit, which we're told could take over a year. In the meantime, those Goldman-backed Apple financial products, they're going to work as usual. It also marks the latest big step by Goldman to get out of the consumer banking experiment following significant losses. The Journal reported earlier this year Apple may actually turn to Amex as a new partner for these products, but Apple and Goldman need to settle those terms to kill the partnership first. And of course, financial services, a growing part of Apple's overall services business with Wallet app, that's at the center of it. There's Apple Pay, the Goldman Apple Card and Savings account, and a buy now, pay later service that's funded by Apple itself, not to mention other wallet features like digital driver's license, gift cards, and so forth. By the way, just before I got on set, Brian, I got a comment from Apple on this. Not really giving much detail, others saying they're focused on, quote, providing an incredible experience for our customers to help them lead healthier financial lives. Not really talking about the future of the partnership, but going on to say they're still going to be together for now.
So Apple is basically eliminating Goldman Sachs as its partner for the Apple Card. Now, me personally, I can't see Apple going without a partner. They're saying that it's rumored for them to be going with Amex. So that should be interesting. We don't know how that's going to play out, but I will keep my eyes and ears to the streets on what's going on in financial news, which is really interesting to me because when they first announced the Apple Card, I was trying to understand the terms of the agreement with Goldman Sachs. Now, as people in the chat, for example, they're saying that Apple is like a bank now. I think that every company is like a bank now, right? When you look at Tesla, and the fact, for example, that they made us put a deposit down for the Cybertruck and the Roadster, the upcoming Roadster, and it's been 5 years, right? Basically, what we did as consumers is we gave Apple, or I'm sorry, not Apple, we gave Tesla a interest-free loan to sit on our money and continue to leverage it to do whatever it is that they wanted to do, whether or not they wanted to develop, use research and development, build infrastructure and all of that stuff. When we give these companies these deposits, or they sit on our money, or you keep money inside of a particular venue for whatever it is that you using, whether it's a technology company or something like that, we're basically giving them interest-free loans. We're letting them use our money for whatever it is that they need to do. Whether or not they making more money off of it or whatever, that's a completely different conversation based off of whatever company that you're giving your money to. But it essentially, I never seen the benefit that Goldman Sachs got out of this whole situation. I seen the benefit that Apple got out of it because it allowed for them to be able to acquire more customers that didn't have the money to be able to finance whatever product that they wanted to buy from Apple, right? You got a bigger customer base, but Goldman Sachs, it seems like, was the ones that was taking all the financial risk, especially when you talk about default. So a lot of these companies and these banks are trying to partner with these large technology companies, but it seems like all of the benefit goes over to Apple because when you start, and again, I don't know the terms of the agreement, but when you're talking about defaulting, Apple is mainly a technology company that then sells services and they sell products over to consumers, right? Banks make the majority of their money off of you paying the interest on whatever it is that they're loaning you. And so when all of the risk goes one way, I can see why Goldman Sachs was losing a ton of money as a result of this partnership. Again, I don't know all of the terms of the deal of whether or not Goldman Sachs or Apple took somewhat of a risk from whatever it was that they partnered with Goldman Sachs. But it doesn't make any sense. The majority of Apple's financing, if you have an Apple Card, we have an Apple Card. The majority of the financing came along with the idea that you would get interest-free payments on whatever Apple product that you pushed out anyway. And so the fees and the transaction fees and the risk of default and all of that, it didn't make sense for Goldman Sachs. For me, I don't see how they benefited whatsoever as far as partnering with Apple just because they were a big technology company. And then they saying that it's a possibility for them to switch over to Amex. So I'm going to keep my eyes out and my ears out for the streets to keep you guys informed on what's going on out in these streets. But that was your quick hits, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let me read a couple more super chats and then we're going to get it popping with the actual segments and parts of the show. P. Shank is in the building, says, "Good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels, sending positive vibes and love." Thank you, P. Shank. I appreciate you for holding me down. Also, Purple Haze is in the building, says, "What up, though, AD? Blessings to you. You keep me going every day, even when my energy level is down. I will never give up. Stay doing what you do, bro." Thank you for continuing to support the platform, my friend. Also, on top of that, we got Purple Haze again in the building, says, "Cuban's deal is like Jordan's. I guess that's the blueprint to keep the minority stake and still control operations." Well, why do you want to control operations outside of the fact that you just really, really like whatever it is that you do for a living? I don't know. So if I want to exit a business, I want to exit it completely. That's just me personally. I can't speak to Mark Cuban because obviously I'm nowhere near Mark Cuban's level, but he's also leaving Shark Tank, so that's pretty incredible. Let's have a conversation really quickly. Let's have a really, really interesting conversation, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I'm going to read super chats throughout the show. Thank you, Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. So I dropped a video, or I dropped a clip, and the clip, I believe I dropped it yesterday, was from a live stream that I did earlier in the week where I basically said, pay off your home. Pay off your home. Now, I know that there's a lot of financial advice that goes out throughout the industry where different people is giving you different advice and they're saying different things depending on whatever it is that you're listening to and what your objective is, right? But I always advocate for people. Shout out to Rita. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. I always get information, and I always say for you to pay off your home. I always say for you to pay off your home. As a regular, everyday consumer, I think you should pay off your home. Now, of course, you're going to have some caveats in there where there's people that make money from real estate or they leverage the banks in order to continue to grow or scale faster, or they make a significant amount of money in order to do this. And then you're going to have other people that's mom and pop people that basically is getting inside of the real estate game. And so they're going to always use the narrative that somebody else taught them. And they're going to say, hey, leverage other people's money. And then I would read, comments in the chat and they say, well, billionaires always leverage other people's money. Listen, man, there's rules to this game, and you got to understand where you stand in a hierarchy of things. For the overwhelming majority of Americans, you giving money over into the bank in the form of interest because you are financing your home, and a lot of people, let's also add the caveat in there, that a lot of people buy more home than they need or than they can afford, which is one of the reasons why they want to stretch the payments out much longer, right? A lot of people, for the majority of Americans, you do not want to give free money over into the bank. And you have to ask yourself the question, why am I trying to use their money when they're the ones that's benefiting as a result of giving me their money? Why are they so gung-ho about giving me their money and then incentivizing me to continue to play the credit game in order to continue to try to build wealth or buy a home and all of this stuff? Where is the bank benefiting? And that's what I always, go back to when I'm trying to have a conversation or I'm trying to understand something specifically. I want to know how you benefiting from it. How are you making money from it? Why do I have the middleman between you if I have the resources to eventually hurry up and pay my home off faster, right? The normal conversation or the narrative that's going to be pitched to you, which that doesn't apply to majority of people either, but the narrative that's going to be pitched to you is this. Well, Anton, why would I pay off my home when I can get more interest or get a bigger return on whatever it is that I'm investing in if I just invest in the market, right? Okay, we can have that conversation. And again, let me emphasize this by saying that we're speaking to the overwhelming majority of people that are trying to finance a home. That means that A, you have to have that lump sum of money, and then B, you have to be beating whatever it is, the rate that you're paying in interest over into the bank or whoever it is that's financing your mortgage. And then somebody will say to me, Anton, that doesn't make sense. I can just go and get tenants and have the tenants pay off my mortgage. Well, why would I want the tenants to pay the bank when they can just pay me? And then I can leverage the money and the resources to acquire more assets or to reinvest back into the business or do whatever it is that I want to do with it. Why would I have them paying the bank because it's still coming out of my money, considering that I have to pay the interest and they just paying a little bit of the principal, especially when you first finance a home? Why would I want them to pay the bank when they can just pay me? I don't understand the logic behind it. And maybe it's just because I'm a C student. I'm open to the fact that I'm wrong. But for the majority of people that are purchasing a home, why would you want to finance it longer than you have to? Because the narrative is always going to be, well, I can make a bigger return on my money. Well, first of all, that would mean that you're some sort of a seasoned investor and that you can regularly beat whatever the interest rate is that you're paying on your mortgage. Because people that are financing homes today, they financing it for 6 and 7.5% and so on and so forth, right? I don't understand the logic. Why wouldn't I have them pay me, but I want them to pay the bank as a result of it? You're going to have the arguments about scale and growth and interest rates. But let me just tell you something, and this is just my personal opinion. Debt is the enemy of wealth. And of course, you're going to have the conversation and say, well, billionaires or certain millionaires, they continue to leverage the bank's money in order to do so. No, they leverage the bank's money in order to prevent themselves from having to pay more in taxes. It's a difference. It's not that billionaires have to leverage the bank's money in order to continue to finance stuff so that they can grow. That's not why they do it. They do it because it costs them more money in order to pay the taxes on whatever equity share that they'd have to divest themselves from in order to get into whatever property that they have, versus not having to pay taxes on money that you borrow that they can then leverage whatever asset that they have, whether it's the equity share that they have in a company or their net worth and whatever it is that they got happening over here. They're able to save a significant amount of money by financing it at a much cheaper rate than you would going into the bank and then financing it based off of whatever the Fed is raising rates to. You not them. I'm not them. It's levels and it's rules to the game. I'm not them. You not them. So it makes no sense for us to compare ourselves to billionaires when the rules of the game for them is much different than the rules of the game for us. You ain't leveraging your $1 billion worth of shares in whatever company that you founded in order to say, okay, I want to get this lower interest rate so that I can prevent myself from having to sell the shares of the equity in that company so that I have to give taxes over to the federal government and basically spending money in order to spend more money. They don't want to give the money over to the federal government. They're letting their money continue to multiply because of the equity stake in it, and they're not paying the tax implications that come along with that with whatever it is that they'd have to sell. In order to do, all you got to do is take the example from Elon Musk a few years ago before he bought Twitter. When he had to sell some shares in Tesla, and he was the biggest, he paid the most taxes allegedly, right? Because we don't know what's going on. He paid the most taxes of anybody in the history of the United States of America in order to sell equity shares into that company because he had no choice. He had met the threshold and he was basically divesting himself in no shares because he had to sell the equity portion in it. And then he wound up leveraging a little bit of that money in order to buy Twitter. And he didn't even put all of his own money into that. He financed the company along with other banks and stuff like that because he didn't want to pay more than he had to in taxes. It's rules to the game. You not them. You're not them. You cannot leverage an asset to get a much, much lower rate in which you're going to be getting more money than a rate of return that you can then take this lump sum of money and invest it in over here. And then be able to get the tax implications or prevent yourself from having to pay the taxes that this billionaire over here got to pay in order to sell his equity share into the company. That's why they do it. It's levels, it's rules to the game. And in order for us to get to the level, we need to understand why we doing what we doing instead of just referencing somebody else without getting the full context as to why they're making that investment or why they taking out that loan or why they don't want to sell an equity share into it or why they continue to buy things from a business perspective and the only purchases that they make outside of whatever it is that they purchasing from that home is from a business perspective because they don't want the tax implications and they want to lower what it is that they got to give to the federal government. That's the main reason why. They built the product that ultimately add value into people's lives, and then they're able to leverage whatever equity that they have inside of that company in order to get a much lower rate than you, and then prevent themselves from having to pay the same taxes. Stop comparing yourself to people and billionaires because that's not not yours, our situation. It never makes sense, no matter how you spin it, no matter how you try to finesse it, it'll never make sense to give more in interest over into anything to a bank when you can literally be paying yourself and then reinvesting it into whatever assets that you want to invest it in order to continue to grow your net worth and grow your empire. No matter how you flip it, no matter how you spin it, it's never going to make sense. The math for me personally is just not mathing. The math is just not mathing. When you reduce your personal expenses in order to continue to grow your assets, that's when you then become successful. And then you leverage those assets in order to build more assets. And then that's the thing that wind up taking care of your lifestyle. But all of this extra stuff that y'all got going on over there, you got to build it first. That's why I say you got to get a bigger shovel. And then some people say, well, Anton, for some people that didn't save for retirement, I read a comment and I responded to it this morning. They said, Anton, for some people that didn't save for retirement, their house can be their biggest asset in order to keep them from going broke. Well, that's the whole reason why we tell you to invest earlier in your life so that you can get a bigger snowball that compounds over time. And why I keep telling y'all to maximize what it is that you contributed into your 403B or your 401k or your Roth 401k so that it continues to grow tax-free. The Roth 401k grows tax-free. The 401k, it'll give you the tax. You don't have to pay taxes on it until you start to draw from it, but it reduces your tax burden now. And so those are vehicles that you're incentivized in order to continue to get, and you get the match. It's free money if you get the match. You know what I'm saying? It's no reason why you should not be saving for retirement. The number one problem that we have, and the reason why we continue to have so many differing opinions by everybody that's in the same boat, is because nobody wants to live according to what they can truly afford. And we not having a real conversations about how much can you really afford when it comes to this thing over here. Should you be buying this amount of house? Should you be over here living there because you can't afford to live in California, family? You can't afford to buy a $400,000 house because just because you stretch the payments out don't mean that you can afford it based off of what the payment is. You need to look at affordability based off of how it's really going to affect you long term and how much money you're going to give over into the bank. If you can finance it for 10 years, 15 years, maybe you don't need that much house, right? The true cost of maintaining that property is going to be exorbitant compared to you living over here. Maybe you shouldn't be in a space where you got to pay HOA fees and you're getting finessed on that type of time. Maybe you really can't afford the property taxes that come along with a $500,000 house. Maybe you need to be in a bracket at a $100,000 house, $200,000 house, until your assets can then substantiate whatever it is that your lifestyle is. But if we don't start having real conversations realistically about what you really going through and what I'm really going through, or what it is that we really need to build in order to continue to maintain this level of, or the lifestyle that we really want, it's a sacrifice that you have to make earlier in life. A sacrifice that you have to make earlier in life that allows for you to live the life that you want later on. That's it. Everybody want it now. You want it yesterday. Even when I coach people sometimes for the first time, they want it tomorrow. Hey, help me how I can get. Hey, ain't no magic pill. If you're trying to do it that way or that fast, then I'm sure it's a guru that you can go and find. I'm not a guru. All I can do is give you my own life experiences and then translate it. And then you take the meat, spit out the bones, and then compare it with whatever other information that you have and then utilize it that way. But I don't have the magic pill for you to be able to scale it and grow it big. I went broke in 2008 after making a whole lot of money from my job in the recession. And then I had to grind and build it, but I never actually made the adjustment until I actually went broke. And then it was the aha moment. And then everything that I was learning up to that point, I started implementing it because I realized that I had to do it a little bit differently and I couldn't depend on whatever it was that I was doing for a living in order to be able to sustain my lifestyle. So we was willing to live for free for an extended period of time until my father passed in 2017. And then that's when we started spending money. I was willing to live for free all the way up through 2017 in order to continue to get to the spaces that I really wanted to be in. And then that's when I started spending money. Everything else that I bought, it literally appreciated over time. All of the watches, everything, it appreciated over time. So, we got to have real conversations. I know that people keep telling y'all, don't pay your house off and all of this other type of stuff. Look, man, if you can save up 20%, put it down so that you don't have to pay private mortgage insurance. Stay away from HOAs. Finance a house if you have to. It's nothing wrong with financing a house. Finance a house if you have to for the least amount of time that you have to do it. Pay it off as fast as you possibly can. And then remove the amount of money that you got to give over into the finance companies, including the credit cards, the student loans, the house, everything. Debt is an enemy of wealth no matter how you spend it for 99.9% of us. Let the 1% figure out what the 1% is doing once we get there. Learn what it is that they do. Make the adjustments so that when we get to their spaces, we can then leverage whatever that same information is that they have because now we're in a different tax bracket. But until then, man, don't let these people try to convince you not to pay off your mortgage. You don't know what it feels like to not have a mortgage. I'm telling you. It may hurt to issue out that money or that lump sum or to make the sacrifice now, but I'm telling you, when all you got to pay is property taxes and insurance, it's different. It's different. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities. You move differently because you move in an abundance now because you ain't worried about the possibility of having to fulfill this mortgage payment if anything was to ever happen to you if you get laid off. No matter what happens, you always have a roof over your head. No matter what happens, you will always have a roof over your head. You got somewhere to live. You got somewhere to stay. You're not worried about it. You're not moving under duress. You're not moving desperate to do things that you shouldn't do when you ain't got to worry about the fact that you got that mortgage payment. Now you're starting to move in abundance because you're looking at the possibilities and you're not moving based off of what if something happened to me. That's why everybody got a savings account. That's why it's so easy to sell people on a savings account instead of having a brokerage account because they worried about their next 6 months. If anything happened to me, will I be able to bridge the gap until I find another job so that I can make my mortgage payment? When you remove all of those burdens and those debts, you can move a little bit more holistic as far as what's in the best interest of your family because you move in abundance and you don't have the same things that's holding on to you or those rocks in your backpack as you continue to climb Mount Everest. It's just a different feeling when you don't have a mortgage. I'm telling you. And if you pay off your mortgage and you decide, you know what, Anton, you was wrong. Okay, well, go ahead and take out equity out of your property in order to get that money back, and then you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But until you actually get there, it's a different feeling. It's a completely different feeling. All right. So I just wanted to have that conversation really quickly for people that may disagree with me, and I'm okay with people disagree with me. That's why we have conversations. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're gonna move on with the show because we got to get it really, really popping. All right. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. Shout out to Rita. I appreciate. Let me give Rita the role. Rita said, I got your back with the 50 ball. Thank you, Rita, for continuing to hold me down. I appreciate you, love. Jake Fever is in the building, said, Cuban preparing to run for president, not 24 but 20. I think that's a mistake. If we learned anything from Donald Trump, is the additional visibility to come along with being president is not good for anybody that is a businessman. Erica says, hi, Anton. I sent you a message on Patreon a while ago, and I need a coaching session. Thinking about taking a loan from your TSP. A lot of people don't know what TSP is. Basically, people in the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, the government issues you a TSP instead of a 401k. Similar to how if you are in the public sector, they give you a 403b instead of a 401k, but it operates the same way. Taking a loan from a TSP to clear out debt for a better interest rate, go pay off your home. I don't think that you should take from your TSP, personally. I think that you need to lower your lifestyle, and we can dig into that. Erica, send me an email at antondaniels413@gmail.com. I don't think that you should take from your TSP in order to pay off debt. I don't think so. I think you need to keep your TSP the same way that it is, and you need to lower your lifestyle so you can allocate more monies to pay off the debt faster, but I would not take from my TSP. I would not take from your TSP, 401k, 403b, none of that stuff, y'all. Leave that alone. Leave it alone, especially if you're making an early withdrawal from your 401k. The penalties and stuff like that, I know it's been people that come up on my show that say differently. I'm of the opinion that you should not take from your TSP, all right? 400 to 250 pounds is in the building, says, yo, Anton, your boy Yada has a history of scamming and putting hands on women. There's 911 calls and scam testimonials on YouTube. Thank you for the super chat. But let me address this really quickly. I'm not into the exposing aspect, because I don't know what his history is, nor do I have the time or the interest to continue to do a deep dive into it. That's not what we do on a Millionaire Morning Show. We speak to the things that people are talking about on platforms. So if he has a particular take on something, if he has a particular mindset to where he's conveying over into the general public that they should do something, and if I feel like it's wrong, then I'm going to address that. I have no clue. I don't know the person. I don't know any of these people. I'm not into that aspect of it. I'm not doing the ad hominem attacks. I'm not jumping down into his history. I don't want to know who his baby mama is. I don't care nothing about that, right? And I appreciate you guys for holding me down. But I'm just, if a person has a difference of opinion, I'm not going to attack them personally. I'm going to attack the point. So that's where I'm at with it. I don't really care about all of that other stuff. I'm only going to attack whatever it is that he's communicating out to guys today that's influencing them. His ability to be able to make money as long as he's doing it legally, that has nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you. I appreciate you. 400 to 250. Latrell M says debt equals stress free. That's a fact, though. Shout out to you. Rodney is in the building with the 20 ball. Said my first house was a duplex. My second home is my primary cash flow covers second mortgage instead of paying them off now. I'm more focused on investing my money to have it work for me. So you telling me that reinvesting the money back into paying off the mortgage is not also investing into you? I'm 29, by the way, and I have some time for my cash to grow. Okay, I'm feeling you. Hey, listen, it's multiple different ways to skin a cat. I think that you should reinvest it back into paying off the mortgage itself. Kelly Jonas is in the building. Thank you, Kelly. Says, I have been a subscriber for years. You may be starting to pander to men. I may be starting to pander to men. I saw you on Hardly Initiated. If a man has chosen a wife, it is his responsibility to provide for his family. No, it's his responsibility to provide the vision that she is supposed to get up under as a helpmeet. It's not pandering to operate based off of whatever biblical principles are, right? It's not my responsibility for you to do what it is that you're supposed to do as an adult. Women largely today, and we speaking to the majority, have advocated for equal. You wanted the same rights. You wanted the same responsibilities. Women are now saying that they want partners instead of husbands, right? You can't pick and choose what you want based off of what is convenient for you. Because if we want to go just based off of biblical principles, you're supposed to still be a virgin when I find you as a wife. But we want to step outside of our purpose, and then you want to get mad at me and say, well, Anton, you pandering to men. No, I'm not pandering to men. I hold men accountable. I'm an equal accountability smoke giver. And if anybody has ever seen me operate on Wednesday night, which mainly is only men that call in, I hold them accountable. I do not let them go out and say and do whatever it is that they're supposed to do. And I also believe, and I push my guys to become the best versions of themselves. What I won't allow them to do is be misused by women that's looking to get a retirement package and is doing nothing all day as far as being able to add value into what it is that he's doing as far as the vision that he's providing for his family, I'm not going to let y'all finesse these guys. I'm not. It's been a lot of deceit. It's been a lot of hate. It's been a lot of finessing from women over the years. And until y'all continue to put that same energy in advocating for updating family court laws, I'm not going to put my guys under duress and tell them that they worked their whole lives for women that gave up all of the goods in their womb to other guys, become single baby mamas, and then the guy is supposed to come behind and pick up the pieces for just because you are saying that they're supposed to continue to pick up all of the pieces and pay 100% of the finances. Bull crap. Bull crap. Bull crap. You're not about to give my guys a bad deal. Advocate for updating the family court laws. Advocate for these women to close their legs before they carry. Advocate for these women to get married before they have sex. Advocate for these women to get up under the vision of the man instead of advocating for wanting a partner instead of wanting a husband. Then we can start having a conversation about whether or not you guys are suitable to be wives. But I don't see many women as suitable to be wives. And because I'm a reflection of the thing that I advocate for, now you say we pandering to men. We don't pander. We have good conversations and we talk in truth. Not your truth, not their truth, but in truth. That's not pandering to say guys shouldn't take a bad deal. I'm an advocate for being successfully married. Not just paying for you to maintain your lifestyle. That's why y'all can't ever answer the question of what y'all bring to the table, even though we've been having this conversation for a long time. I'm not doing it. Shout out to you, Kelly Jones. I appreciate you, but I'm definitely not going to advocate for my guys to get up under the guillotine. Jean Wick is in the building, says, hey, Anton, do you have any thoughts on buying an existing business? It depends on what the business is. They pinging me on work. It depends on what the business is. You got to do your due diligence. We'd have to deep dive, and you got to give me a real example before I can speak to that. Nathan is in the building. Shout out to Nathan. Nathan says, what is your honest advice for those of us who did not save earlier and are now 50 plus making a decent income? First thing you want to do is you want to remove all of the debt. You want to remove all of the debt. Second thing that you want to do is make sure that you continue to contribute into your catch-up contributions for your 401k. So a lot of people are not leveraging the fact that they can do catch-up contributions, and the government allows for you to contribute more than a normal citizen that's under, I believe, the age of 55 or 50. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but the government allows for you to contribute more into your catch-up contributions into your 401k. Got to lower your lifestyle, get rid of the debt, do your catch-up contributions, and then we can go from there, right? But it's the basics and it's the fundamentals, right? You still have a lot of time. The retirement age is what, 69 and a half? And so if you're 50, you still got 19, 20 years in order to build wealth. Man, that's a lot of time. In 5, 10 years, you can really change the trajectory of your lifestyle. You can completely change the trajectory of your life. So shout out to you, Nathan. I appreciate you. MyFly says, Kelly will go 80-20 with you. Nope. I say that people need to go 100-100. It's 100-100. I want 100% of what everything that you got. Listen. Y'all give 100% to your boss, but you won't give 100% to your husband. Y'all give 100% to your boss, but you don't want to give 100% to your husband. Oh, no. He's got to go 100, and I'm supposed to live the soft life. So you submissive to the man that you've been working for your entire life that only gave you a little bit of a paycheck, but then you don't want to get up under the vision of your husband. That's wild to me. But we're going to have a different conversation on Wednesday night. Shout out to y'all. All right, let's continue on with the show. I want to have a conversation about the criminal element that's happening in society that's getting more and more aggressive across the United States of America. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
A shoplifting at a 7-Eleven in Riverside County turned into an assault, and he was caught on camera. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the story.
Check out this surveillance video. A group of teenagers inside a convenience store in San Jacinto, one of them grabbing something from behind the counter, then taking off, the store clerk chasing after him. As the kids burst out the front door, you can see the clerk trying to grab one of them to prevent them from leaving. But a few seconds later, the guy then punches the store clerk before all of them get away. Fortunately, it was all caught on camera, something the Riverside County Sheriff's Department hopes will help them solve this case.
Obviously, the images that we're able to obtain from the from any type of video or cameras is huge. The public is going to have more knowledge as to who that person might be. You know, somebody in the neighborhood may recognize them based on whatever it was that they were wearing or their stature.
It happened just after 10 o'clock Monday night at the 7-Eleven on State Street, just north of the Ramona Expressway.
One of the reasons why it was very, very difficult for me to, and I had a lot of come to Jesus moments as I was in the restaurant industry, right? And one of the reasons why it was difficult for me to really make the moves that I wanted to make as far as doing what I wanted to do within a community is that I had to take a lot of things into consideration. The first thing that I had to take into consideration was the opposite of what a lot of people advocate for, and it's those metal or those glass, plexiglass, those protective glasses that basically prevent you from getting robbed, right? And we always say, well, they always got these metal bars or the plexiglasses up inside of the hood, but I think that people should be treated better. Well, it's very difficult because you want to treat the community with a level of respect, your customers and your, people that patronize your business with a level of respect. But it's also very difficult on the flip end of that because I have to take care of my employees and make sure that they don't get robbed. I was very blessed in running a restaurant in which I never got robbed. As far as held up at gunpoint, I got robbed as far as people stealing from the business, but I never got robbed, and none of my employees was ever robbed or assaulted as a result of it. And so we was very, very blessed as a result of that. What you said? What now? Yeah, they stole a lot of stuff. It's okay with that, but we never actually got robbed. The other part of it is exactly what she said. We can root out crime within our own neighborhoods, within our own households, if we just took accountability for the people that we're harboring as far as the ones that's doing the worst for our community. She said it. She said, listen, people know who's doing what within the community. You know who your friends are. You know who the people that's stealing. You know the homies that's going to be hitting cars overnight and stealing catalytic converters, and you know the boosters that's going to be stealing clothes from the store and then selling it to you. And not only are we unwilling to hold the people accountable in our own circles that are doing these things, but we often enable them by patronizing them and buying the stuff from them, even though we know that it's stolen and it's boosted. And now they've gotten so brazen that children, not only adults, but kids, teenagers, are walking in, doing what they want to do, assaulting the people that are actually honest and working for a living and doing the thing that they're supposed to do. And now we see this happen, and it's transpiring all across the United States of America.
Off camera, a store manager told Eyewitness
What's
News
up, Q?
this morning that the clerk who was assaulted had a bloody nose, but fortunately didn't have to go to the hospital. The sheriff's department says the employee is lucky the situation wasn't worse. In a situation like this, you never know if the robber might have a weapon.
They said that he's lucky, the clerk, the person that's just in there trying to make a living, feed his family, or do whatever it is that he got to do and pay his bills. He's lucky that the criminals didn't do more to him. Not the criminals lucky that they didn't get caught. Not the criminals lucky that they didn't mess around and find out. Not the criminals lucky that their parents and the community people and whoever it is that surround them didn't turn them in. We're so backwards in society now to where the clerk is lucky that he only got a bloody nose. This is what the police is telling him.
It's unfortunate that we do have people that are committing these type of thefts, but there's nothing more dangerous than trying to prevent a suspect from leaving a location.
They got away in a newer, dark-colored SUV. Anyone with information on this case is asked to call the Riverside County Sheriff's Department.
You can forget it. Don't worry about it. They probably was in their mama's car. You can forget it. Meanwhile, over at the new Lego store,
kids go crazy over them, and apparently so do thieves. A Lego store has been struck by thieves 3 times since it opened, and the latest attack happened Sunday.
Fox 5's
thank you, Omar. I'm going to read that super chat shortly.
Jovial is here to show us the thieves in action caught on surveillance video.
Yeah, that's right, guys. So this is really frustrating for the owner of a Lego store and expensive as well. So it's hard enough for a small business to stay in business the first year and then have to deal with this. Well, there are some really cool Legos at Bricks and Minifigs off Fort Apache near the 215, including this typewriter. It may not look like it, but it's made up all of Legos, more than 2,000 pieces. And check out this more than 7,000 piece Welcome to Las Vegas sign set.
We're the only franchise like this in Vegas. I brought it here because I really wanted to bring something different for the community, and I really love Lego, so I thought it was a great way to share something with everyone.
The thieves have tried to foil the sharing spirit by taking.
Let's stop here for a second. While we watch this in real time with this HD camera, probably in 1080p, let's stop for 1 second, y'all. Y'all not only are forcing major corporations outside of y'all communities, creating food deserts, job deserts, and then also nowhere for people to be able to spend their time in person, which incentivizes people to get out and spend more money and then circulate money within a community. Y'all are not just doing this to large corporations, y'all also doing this to everyday individual businesses. This is somebody that took their own hard-earned money, signed a long-term lease at whatever it is plaza that they in, within the community, took their passion, learned how to monetize it, and is selling a product to the general public in order to continue to feed their families. Now, it's hard. It's hard. It's incredibly hard to meet payroll, rent, as a small business owner, and still have enough money in order to be able to feed yourself or to pay yourself a salary. A lot of these small businesses and these brick and mortars, these are basically passion projects and hustles. And if they make a little bit of money on the side, then cool. But as far as the amount of time that they spend inside of these businesses, most of them will never be able to recoup their investment as far as the amount of time that they're putting into it. These are small business owners, your neighbor's neighbor inside of your own community, and you are walking in, destroying their property, and continuing to put them out of business and taking food out of their mouth, and y'all decided to hit a Lego store.
3 times since the store opened last January. On Sunday, a thief shattered a window on the front door. Garcia says he was looking for cash, looked around, tried to get in a back door, couldn't get in, and left with nothing. Then in July, watch this supposed shopper right here. Garcia says he grabbed some expensive sets of Legos and then bolted out the door without paying, while customers were inside. A surveillance camera snapped this photo.
He looked directly at our camera, so I didn't really understand the logic there.
And in March, another theft, as this thief wasn't tall enough to quickly grab some expensive Legos, but finally got them and took off. Now, with the windows and the Legos, the store is out several $1,000s. Garcia thinks he's being hit because small businesses are easy targets. But he's taken the thefts in stride, with some customers offering creative security solutions.
We did have one of our regulars. He's like 13 years old. He told us that we should hire a stormtrooper or like a clone trooper and put him out here. So he.
That's so mad. That's sad. That's incredibly sad. That is incredibly sad. This is messed up. It's really, really messed up. Legos, fam. Of all of the possible business, if you down bad or you just on some criminal type of behavior and activity, of all of the possible businesses that you can hit, you gonna hit a local, you ain't even hit the Lego store, you hit the local Lego guy store. You selling the guy, you hit the guy that's buying a Lego sets from the Lego manufacturer and building them himself and creating a spot that's, basically good and fun to be able to go into. You hitting him. Of all of the different places you can hit, you hit a Lego store, family.
Guards our store.
This is frustrating.
Grown men.
Now, even when you follow instructions, sometimes you forget to put in an important Lego piece, and you have to tear the item apart and then rebuild. Rebuilding is what Garcia says his team will do now after some costly thefts.
Even though they might steal some sets that, we're in this for the long run, and we're not going to let, small-time criminals stop us or shut us down.
Nope, don't do it, family. Don't do it, family. Don't sit there and try to be a hero within a community. Heroes die early. That's what I've learned. That's my advice. Heroes die early. Figure out how you can create an e-commerce platform that hopefully grows to be a lot more beneficial for you than a brick and mortar store. And if you can't stop people from stop breaking into your stuff and it's costing you more money to operate the business, don't try to be a hero. Heroes die early. Heroes die early. Villains live to write the stories. History is written by winners. History is written by winners. And heroes die early. Let me give you an example.
In the South Bay, a brazen robbery at a popular sporting goods store. You can see it was caught on video. More than a dozen thieves raced through this Dick's sporting goods store in San Jose last night, grabbing what they could. NBC Bay Area's Marian Favreau is in San Jose with the new details for us.
It happened around 7 last night here at this Dick's Sporting Goods store on Blossom Hill Road. And now San Jose police are looking for as many as 13 suspects. In this cell phone video taken by an employee, you can see thieves in hoodies and ski masks running through Dick's Sporting Goods, grabbing merchandise and then running out the front door. At one point, one of the suspects shoved an employee.
Very frightening watching people run in and grab things and not care about the employees or the other people in the public. It was a very dangerous act.
Shopper Ken Johnston says he's relieved he didn't encounter the mob.
Well, that's so disappointing. I'm glad I wasn't here at the store when that happened. That's just very brazen.
Look at Ken. Ken came in to come and get his golf clubs, and next thing you know, some little whippersnapper is running past and could have possibly pushed him over and gave him a life-ending injury, threw his hip out of place, messed up his kneecap, anything, just anything. And y'all know how big a Dick's sporting goods store is? It's like a Walmart inside of that place. That place is massive. And y'all in there stealing basketball and hockey sticks and Nike Tech Fits?
San Jose police say they are now investigating and looking for as many as 13 suspects. The thieves targeted the store just 4 days after San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan announced the city received millions of dollars in grant money to crack down on retail theft just in time for the holiday season. Thefts like this are having a big impact on Dick's Sporting Goods' bottom line nationwide. In August, the company blamed organized retail crime for cutting its quarterly profits by nearly 25%. And these images are making some feel apprehensive about shopping during the holidays.
And it's unfortunate because now this is just a normal part of the culture. And nobody is going to be responsible as a result of it. And we all know who's doing it within our communities. And ain't nobody ever going to say nothing because they programmed y'all through the music to do the no snitching policy. And this is where we at with it. This is where we at with it. So just keeping y'all in the loop of what's happening out here in these streets. Rush Enterprise Stark says, preach, stand sucker free is the campaign. Facts. Seek the Light is in the building. I appreciate you, Rush. Seek the Light says, off subject, looking forward to Sunday. Who that says they gonna beat them Saints. Yeah, we gonna see. Shout out to the Lions out here in these streets. Omar is in the building and says, Anton, you right on the money about this crazy crime wave and what needs to change in order to fix it. Talk your talk. I'm not saying nothing that anybody else wouldn't say. It's just that I just so happen to be the one that had a platform to advocate for it. The Wealth Building Journey is in the building says, look, Tom, if they don't care about their own lives crashing out, why should literally anybody else, if they crash out, they crash out? Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you're the one to address it, they're going to hold you accountable, and then they're going to have Black Lives Matters out there protesting on your behalf, and then Roland Martin is going to do a live stream about you. Facts. Roland Martin is going to do a live stream about you. Let's move on. Thank you guys for continuing to support the platform. Let's rock out. Let's move over into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was Diddy. Take that. Take that. I predicted it. They say Young Miami. Hey, why would you be in a relationship with a chick named Young Miami? See, ain't y'all gonna get enough of talking to these young chicks? Yep. Wayne got you a 19-year-old, and then 9 years later, she opened up Pandora's box and then made it available for everybody to come and sue you as a result of it, and y'all keep talking about what you should do. One day, when it's all said and done, y'all gonna sit here and y'all gonna say Anton from AntonDaniels.com was right about relationships all along, because the most and I'm going to say it again for the people in the back, the most, like Dr. Umar Johnson, I want you to understand, overstand, and understand. The most important financial decision that you will ever make in your entire life is the person that you lay next to every single night. The most important financial decision that you will ever make in your entire life is the person that you lay next to every night. Now, we're not saying that Diddy is innocent. Of course we aren't. Because I don't think that the culture, and this is one of the reasons why, listen, the minute that he stepped on that EYL stage and he started talking that billionaire talk and he started going back and forth with Diageo about the Ciroc brand, everything went south. I'm almost inclined to believe that there's other factors in play. And again, it doesn't remove his responsibility for whether or not he's a scumbag or not, but we can't speak to that because it's all alleged and we don't know what's true and what's not. Two things can be true at the same time. But I'm going to just tell you, and ever since I did that review on it and I called it out and I said, man, listen, it ain't what y'all think it is. Diddy has been going through it. I bet you this man don't even sleep good at night. I bet you this man don't even sleep good at night. Let me bring you up to speed of what's going on. Thank you, Karen Parker. I'm going to definitely be reading that super chat shortly. Diddy, according to multiple news outlets, including TMZ, is now stepping aside as chairman of Revolt. They say in a temporary move. That means that Diddy is holding out hope. The internet got a long memory sometimes, depending on who you are and how long they didn't have it out for you. Because everybody trying to get a bag off of you. Gene Deal, his former bodyguard, is on multiple different platforms every single day telling all of the business. Mark Curry couldn't wait to say something because he didn't feel like his catalog that you let him get back was worth anything, right? Everybody is revisiting everything that happened over these past few years because they got it out for you. And so Diddy, for some reason, thinks that it's a possibility for him to get back into the chairman's role after all of this is said and done and they let this blow over. Let's deep dive. They said Diddy isn't about to let issues in his personal life take down his successes in his professional life, making the difficult decision to temporarily step aside from his role as chairman of Revolt. Now, here's the thing, and this is why I say this all the time. Your character, and when you guys get coaching sessions and I talk to you guys in real life or you meet me at the meetup, shout out to the Patreon members. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I say this on a regular basis. Let me say it again. I say this on a regular basis. Your character will keep you in places that your talent is going to take you. Your character will keep you in spaces and places that your talent is going to take you. It's only so long you're going to be able to run the race without having to have the character to go along with it, because eventually you're going to get a Cassie or you're going to get a New York governor that then opens up the that opens up the Adult Survivors Act. Shout out to my job over here. The Adult Survivors Act that eventually is going to call your character into question. I know that Jonathan Majors, for example, that's going to be on Quick Hits tomorrow. He's now in trial right now. Young Thug is on a RICO case. He made millions and millions of dollars, but then the attorney and the state that's basically trying to hold him accountable is saying that, listen, his lyrics said that he going to do X, Y, Z. X, Y, and Z. It says sources with direct knowledge. Okay, y'all being disrespectful now. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ Diddy decided last week he'd make the temporary move. The temporary move. We're told his goal in making a decision was not to allow the accusations he's facing distract from Revolt's mission or success. Revolt is currently celebrating its 10-year anniversary and is doing well under the leadership of CEO Latavio Samuels and Chief Brand Officer Dion Graham. We're told Diddy is not involved in the company's day-to-day. But let me tell you what's really happening based off of my theories. So this is not something that I can substantiate. This is based off of my theories. Let me tell you what's really happening with Mr. Take That. When Cassie filed a lawsuit, she filed a lawsuit not just against Diddy but Bad Boy, all of the record labels, and every other company that she can find it. And so what people are theorizing, and again, I'm not a lawyer. I've never actually had a situation where I've had to deal with anything like this, nor do I know anybody that's had to deal with anything like this as far as the Adult Survivors Act. But in theory, if you go and you do some research, what a lot of lawyers and people are saying is that with her suing that, it removed his ability to be able to settle, and then it then became a financial decision that was made on behalf of the liability insurance that came along with the different companies that she was suing also. So it wasn't just him that was making a decision. It then became all of his partners, partnerships, and the companies that he was a part of that then had to participate in what these lawsuits are asking for. So it wasn't just Cassie, it's all 3, 4, whoever it is that's suing, that's coming out of the woodwork. And then what it also did was it made other people have to participate in a liability that came along with the lawsuit. So anybody who was attached to him, that enabled it, that seen it, that didn't say anything as a result of it, it put them under fire, even though they may not necessarily have participated in whatever act that he had going on. So this goes back to the original conversation that I was having with you guys, right? Meaning the company that you keep is also just as important as the decisions that you make on a regular basis. For you to go and get money with somebody is not enough. You got to question who they are, what their intentions are, and then also whether or not they're going to operate above board throughout the entirety of the time that you do business with them, because all of the shrapnel and all of the grenades that then land on them can very much come back and bust you down. All of the shrapnel and all of the grenades can eventually come back on them and bust you down. Now we starting to see why Russell Simmons is over there in some teepee hut in some other country in Bali or India or somewhere acting like he ain't got no money. Now we see why Russell Simmons is over there and his daughters is making TikTok videos about him. And his ex-chick that was the baby fat chick, I forgot what her Kimora Lee Simmons, is over there and making accusations about him. Russell Simmons, I predict, will never, ever come back to the United States of America. Russell Simmons is over in a teepee hut somewhere, and he will never come back to the United States of America. You didn't hear not one lawsuit that was filed against Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons, he may be an oracle. He very well may be an oracle. He may be able to predict the future. He might have been able to have a tap-in line to see what this Survivors Act was coming and this legislation was coming a long time ago, because Russell Simmons is one of the only ones that got the hell out of Dodge in these 2,500 lawsuits that was filed and now Diddy is facing. Russell Simmons had some of the most egregious accusations levied against him. But one thing is for sure and two things is for certain. He got that Rush Car money. He got that Def Jam money. He got that Fat Farm money and that Baby Fat money. And he got a whole lot of other money up out of the black community. And then he got the hell out of Dodge and he over there in Indonesia or something somewhere cooking up tea and being a vegan with no shoes on and linen pants looking like Eric Benet. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Russell Simmons got the hell out of Dodge while Diddy and everybody else is over here. Diddy, Jimmy Iovine, everybody. Axl Rose, Cuba Gooding Jr., Bill Cosby still facing lawsuits. Everybody and their mama is over here facing lawsuits, but Russell Simmons is over there in the teepee hut. Let's continue. As we reported, Diddy was quick to settle a lawsuit brought on by Cassie with an amicable resolution where she was accusing him of sexual assault and abuse and human trafficking. It goes on to say there have since been 2 additional lawsuits filed against Diddy. The one girl's name is Joy Dickerson Neal, meaning that she must be married or she was formerly married. Says Diddy sexually assaulted her on camera when she was a college student back in 1991. And a Jane Doe, a woman that didn't even ask to be identified, says Diddy and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall took turns. Aaron Hall? We ain't heard of Aaron Hall in so long. Remember when they was comparing Aaron Hall to R. Kelly? Took turns busting her down and friends in either 1990 or 1991. See, all of that, it ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. Look at Diddy. They caught Diddy out there in the jungle, walking around with an oversized t-shirt on, feeling sad, with sandals on. They got Diddy on camera walking around feeling sad and feeling sorry for himself after all of this stuff that went on. A rep for Diddy accused the 2 additional lawsuits by saying the claims involving alleged misconduct against Mr. Combs over the 30 years and filed at the last minute are all completely denied and rejected by him. He recognizes this as a money grab, and because Mr. Combs' fame and success, he is an easy target for accusers who falsify the truth without the conscience or consequence for financial benefit. But on the flip side of that, 50 said he didn't care. 50, listen, of all the people in the world that I would never want to be an enemy with, that will troll you till you die, that seems to have no forgiveness in his heart, is 50. 50 been trolling, and his Instagram account been trolling Diddy since the beginning of time, and he's only stepped it up as a result of it. It said, as Sean Diddy Combs continues to do the damage control amid his ongoing legal troubles, 50 Cent is offering his fellow rapper a lifeline by taking a few shots at him in the process. After he announced that he was stepping down from Revolt, 50 took to Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter, on Tuesday and proposed an offer and said that he'd buy it from him on the low because Cadillac and AT&T is going to pull out. He may have a point, though. Throughout all of his trolling, he might actually have a point in that. One of the reasons why I believe that Diddy stepped down is because of the sponsors. Sponsors don't want their name attached to people that are embroiled in controversy and negativity within their lives. They don't want to be embroiled in that. And so now you got to start looking at everybody that's under the Diddy umbrella, right? I think that Nori and them for Drink Champs, I think that they under the umbrella. It's several different podcasts that's under the umbrella. It's a lot of people that do business that's under the umbrella. The Breakfast Club, even though they had their own controversy, that's assigned with DJ Envy is under the umbrella of Revolt. It's a lot of different shows that may not even be making money. And so they're interdependent on a lot of these sponsorships in order to keep them afloat, especially in a dying industry where a lot of their revenue is coming as a result of being on cable networks and things like that. So they're trying to have significant partnerships that drive revenue that ultimately can get them additional sponsorships. And 50 is trolling and saying Cadillac and AT&T gonna pull out. I'll give you a few dollars now so you can get on up out of Dodge and we can continue to maintain this this money. Specifically, he said it. He said, I'll give you a few dollars for it now. Sell it to me, then we can be friends. I'm serious. Call my phone. 50 trolling. Everybody like to kick homie Wiley down. I feel kind of bad for him a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm becoming a little softy in my older age. I don't know. But let me read a couple of the super chats. That's what's happening with Diddy, and then we'll continue over with the show. Karen Parker is in the building, says, I'm in the Bay Area. I don't go nowhere anymore around under here. Thank you for sharing your insight on all things. Karen, you might need to get up out of the Bay, baby. You might need to get up out of the Bay, Karen. Seminole 2014 says, morning, Anton. Speaking of folks crashing out, have you seen a video of Nardo Wick's security knocking out a fan? Happened in Tampa. Dude, brain is bleeding. I didn't. Send that to me. Send it to me. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. Trey D says, hypersex athletes and entertainers should become passport bros, equal problem solved. No, you got to get your life together so that you don't find yourself hypersex and over-sexualized. It's not to run out to a different country in order to ruin somebody else's life. You just got to get your own life together. Chris J says, a long time ago, settling out of court was a safe move, guilty or not. Now, I don't see that as a wise option anymore. Fight for your reputation. No, Chris. The problem with that is that you could lose, and one of the problems also is not that you're necessarily guilty with regard to that, but in the discovery phase, you might have to start revealing a lot more information that you don't necessarily want to go out to the general public. So it's a lose-lose situation regardless, you know what I'm saying? And you're dependent on a jury, and you still got to pay an egregious amount of lawyer fees, and then possibly go through the appeal phase if you lose, which just costs you more money. And so it's just a bad deal all the way across the board. So I don't think that settling is necessarily a bad thing. I think that we just live in an age and a social media era that's just bad all around. Sharon is in the building, says, I got your back. Let me throw this fireball inside of the collection plate. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold me down. I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. Let's go into the next segment of the show. We got to start getting into the money. So the next couple segments of the show before I let you go. One of them is a woman that showed up on my algorithm that said that she quit her job. So I want to deep dive into that. But before we get into that, I want to bring Target up. Now, Target, you guys know that I've been showing you throughout the week everything that's happening with Amazon and that they're now selling cars online. And they've consistently made a heavy investment, not only in robotics, but artificial technology and research and development to continue to build out everything from logistics to their warehouses and making it much easier, much cheaper, and then also much more efficient for them to service their customers in a shorter amount of time and not have to depend on regular people in order to continue to fill their customers' needs, right? Now, on the flip side of that, you got Target battling Amazon and Walmart. Now, we also had a segment on Walmart in which we know that Walmart has been spending a lot of money continuing to innovate, not only to battle Amazon, but to also remain a leader in that Walmart is largely making up at least 1/4 of all of the groceries that's sold inside of the United States of America. Let me say that again. Walmart, the groceries within America, Walmart is controlling and is selling at least a quarter, 25, I believe, 0.8% of all groceries that is sold inside of the United States of America goes in and out of Walmart's doors. And so that also begs the question, and it leaves you with, well, what happens to all of the other retailers, including other large retailers, mom and pop spots, grocery stores, Kroger's, Publix, all of these publicly traded companies, these privately owned companies. We did a segment on Aldi, for example, and showed you how they're a privately owned company, but they're continuing to expand within the United States of America based off of their low cost model while still adding value into people's lives while they're going through what is being perceived as a recession / driven by inflationary environment, right? And so that asks and that begs the question, well, where does Target stand throughout all of this, and how are they going to be able to compete against the likes of an Amazon and a Walmart, considering all of this innovation and technology that's being invested into our societies? And Anton told y'all yesterday that I think that Amazon is going to take over the entire world. Let me go ahead and show you what's happening over at Target, in which they feel is a solution for them to continue to be competitive and innovative when it comes to the retail market.
Tucked away in the back of this Target store in Edina, Minnesota, employees pack about 1,000 orders every day. This is one of 2,000 stores across the country that fulfill 95% of the company's online orders. It's Target's biggest play to beat Amazon and Walmart in the race for fastest shipping. As the smallest retailer of the group, it's banking on its greatest asset, this network of physical stores throughout the U.S. The strategy is a big departure from how retailers typically fulfill online orders, using giant warehouses to ship packages across the country. But Target is reaching customers where they are.
Over 75% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Target store.
Here's how the underdog in
We hear that same corporate speak everywhere. We heard it from Amazon, we heard it from Walmart, we heard it all across the board. 90%, 75%, 80% of all retail customers live within 10 miles of a Target store. And so that's what they're giving you as far as corporate speak to justify whatever it is that they're doing from an innovation perspective and getting you to buy into their e-commerce platforms in order to get more orders out the door, all right?
The shipping wars is rethinking distribution to keep up in the high-stakes battle of fast delivery.
How many of y'all, before we get into this, have ever actually ordered anything from Target online? I'll do you one better. How many of y'all have ever actually even ordered anything from Walmart online? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever ordered anything from Walmart or Target online. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever ordered anything from Walmart or Target online. And we know that the pricing is the same across the board in most instances. So if you're going to order an electronic, a PS5, an Xbox, or whatever, it's going to be the same price as it is on Amazon, as it is at Walmart, as it is at Target, all of that. I don't really see any ones in the chat. We got over 2,100 people. Oh, okay, I see the ones in the chat now. I see y'all. Okay, so y'all have. Let me see how many of these people are ladies. Connie, Jay-Z Art Studios, Average Joe, Miss K, Miss Bree. All right, we got some fellas in there too. So it's a lot of y'all. All of y'all have ordered something from Target and Walmart. Okay, well, I didn't know, right? I didn't know that they were actually generating revenue from the demographic by which I'm having a show with. Okay, so this is relevant to you guys. All right, let's continue.
What Stores as Hubs was for Target, it was an intentional moment of declaring that our stores, our brick and mortar assets, were valuable resources.
As Target ramped up same-day and next-day delivery, it turned stores like this one into mini fulfillment centers. That meant designating back room space for shipping needs, like adding pack stations.
You probably will find many more stores closer to the consumer, so fulfilling from the store, you may reduce the time.
Say you order this toy set from Target online, and it's available at a store nearby. That store will fulfill the order locally. In a typical e-commerce fulfillment network, that toy might have been picked and packed in a larger center much further away. Target has only 14 of those larger fulfillment centers, compared to its 2,000 stores, so...
It made a lot of sense for them to try to kind of work with.
I'm always trying to figure out how Target is able to even compete from a logistics perspective compared to the way that basically Walmart and Amazon basically have warehouses everywhere. I mean, the former Joe Louis Arena site, not Joe Louis Arena, the former Pontiac Silverdome. The Pontiac Silverdome was where the Detroit Lions originally played at, and the Pistons at one point. And they had a lot of WWE events and everything like that. The former Pontiac Silverdome, which I explored, and that was one of my very, very first viral videos, is now the site of an Amazon fulfillment center. You see trucks as far as the eye can see, as far as electric trucks from Rivian and stuff like that, going in and out of that place on a regular basis. They basically leveled the site, and they couldn't sell it for years. Amazon basically bought the site, and they turned it into a fulfillment center. Like, all across America, and I fly to a lot of different places. When I travel, it's very rare that I do not see some kind of warehouse from some other company, some indistinct warehouse that's carrying a lot of products. And I think that Walmart and Amazon are obviously the leaders in that, and that they're leveraging that infrastructure that they have now, that they've built up over a certain amount of years, to continue to deploy a lot of these products that they're selling y'all on a regular basis. And they're using AI, the Amazon Web Services, and all of these other technologies in order to use predictive language. And they're even using fulfillment by Amazon in order to get you out products faster. Now, comparatively, they're saying that Target only has a few logistics centers that basically serve over 2,000 stores. So Target's now pivoting into leveraging the stores themselves as basically fulfillment centers. So whereas you can order something from Amazon, or you can order something from Walmart, and you can either go and pick it up from Walmart in the store, or they'll ship it out throughout the warehouse or whatever like that, right? Or it goes straight out of the warehouse, and then it's a part of the delivery system from Amazon. Target is basically saying, well, we're going to take our stores and basically turn them into fulfillment centers, even though they may not necessarily be as large or as wide or as vast. But the question I think that I have is, are they as efficient logistically as these large warehouses, considering that you have over 2,000 of them, and now they're trying to turn them basically into warehouses in addition to the stores that you shop at?
What they have.
With Target's model, store employees will pick your toy directly from the shelf. Then it's brought to the back room, where your order will be boxed, taped, and labeled before it's added to this pallet for pickup. Target says shipping from a store is 40% cheaper than routing the order through a fulfillment center. But relying on stores to sell items to both in-person and digital customers comes with its own challenge.
There's a limited amount of space. You know, these are existing stores. These are buildings that already exist.
Right. So these big old huge warehouses with Target, with Amazon and Walmart, I mean, these things are massive. Now, if you go into a Target store, yeah, there's 2,000 of them, and customers, 75% of customers that can go to a Target live within 10 miles of it. but they're not as huge. The workers are not well trained. You can't transition a store over into being as technology friendly like the AI and the bots that Amazon is using in order to fulfill orders and get that stuff out the door. You then have to still depend on people, and you have a smaller footprint in order to hold all of these items in order to get these products over into the customer. And they're saying that we want to beat them based off of the time and the delivery that we can get it over into the customer. When Amazon also goes straight to your door. So you order from Amazon, Amazon is the one delivering it. Target is still depending on other carriers in order to deliver their products on top of it. So I don't see it, man. I mean, I see what they're doing. I see what the strategy is, but I don't see them beating in any way, shape, or form the innovation that's happening over at Amazon or Walmart at all.
Digital volume continues to increase. That creates strain and pressure for our
Chris Thomas says, I think you're missing this one, Anton. How am I? Tell me how I'm missing it. I like to interact with the chat. I'm cool with that. This is an interactive show. How am I missing this one? It doesn't make sense to me.
Building packages in the back room. Well, the sortation center really relieves that pressure from our store teams.
The company opened this Minneapolis sortation center in 2020. Facilities like these utilize existing stores while shipping at high volume. Every day, orders are packaged and trucked from 43 local Target store shelves and brought here for sorting and delivery.
You see that? Every day from 43. Let me rewind that just to make sure that I got it right. I want to make sure that I got all of the verbiage right.
Every day, orders are packaged and trucked from 43 local Target store shelves and brought here for sorting and delivery.
So they're packaged from 43 different Target store shelves. They're packaging it, and they're sending it over into this fulfillment center. So they're working backwards. So the products get stocked on the store shelves because listen, you also got to take into consideration the labor. It's not just you guys getting your packages faster. It's also the logistics behind how many times you got to handle a package that speaks to the efficiency of whether or not they're doing it the same way. So if we have to ship it or wherever it is that you're getting these products from, then ship it over to your stores. You then have labor to put it on the shelves, and then you have to take it off the shelves when you have to get an online order in order to then fulfill it over to the customer and then possibly send it back to a location like this for them to package it and have it shipped out to you. How is that making more sense than the way that Amazon and Walmart is moving with their efficiency as far as getting products directly to the hands of the customers? Even if it takes you an additional day to get your product, the fact that they don't have to handle it as much and they're using less labor in order to do so actually speaks to the efficiency that they're continuing to invest in over at Amazon and Walmart. So how does this make more sense? Where am I missing it at? How does it make more sense? You're handling a package more than one time, which feeds into the profitability and the margins that you have in order to be able to make money from that product faster than they can make profitability from this product. Because the true cost of running a business is not just buying a product for $1 and selling it to $2. It's how much you have to handle that product from a labor perspective in order to get it over into the customer. It makes no sense logistically. Let me watch a little bit more. Maybe it's some insight that I'm missing that helps me to see it a little bit differently.
Process around 35,000 packages a day through peak. This specific facility up to 45,000 and 350,000 through Cyber Monday alone.
130 employees help the center run 24 hours a day to get through all that volume. Once your order arrives off the truck, it comes to the induction area where a worker scans it into the facility and places it on the conveyor belt.
They're flowing down through here, and they're going to come to this central area right here. At this pickoff point, a team member would stand here as the packages come in. They would read Target Last Mile Delivery, and then they would let that package continue down this line.
This process separates the packages that Target delivers for itself, or Target Last Mile Delivery, from those destined for third-party pickup. The orders
look how inefficient this is. They have to depend on a human, which obviously we are all familiar with what Amazon is doing over there with their artificial intelligence and robotic. And we see how quickly those packages are running through over there at Amazon, right? Through all of their warehouses. You're dependent on a human to get it right every single time. And they're eliminating the need for humans, and then they're marketing to you and saying, well, no, this is just humans and AI working together. Okay.
Carriers like UPS, USPS, or FedEx are often going a little farther away.
It could be an adjacent market. It could be a regional hub.
But if it's being delivered in the local area, your package will flow further down this line to be sorted again and again and again.
We break that down further from target last mile delivery into partitions, or again, think about geographic areas that coincide with dispatches.
How does this make sense, honestly? And again, I'm a C student, so take what it is that I'm saying into consideration. How is this making sense? How is this logistically more efficient than what their competition is doing? I could be off. How does this make sense?
Once those geographic areas are determined, we would route those down to the specific route that one of our ship partners is going to come and make the delivery of each of these packages on that route to a guest's home.
Once your order has made it to these route carts, it's ready for the driver to pick up. Target uses Shipt, which it acquired in 2017, to make some of its deliveries. The drivers are independent contractors using their own cars.
So they trying to out Amazon, but these dudes is pulling up in their minivans. Come on, man. And you got to depend on continuously keeping a churn of people signing up to do Shipt in order to deliver these products over the... I don't see it. I just don't see it. I do not see it. Me personally, I am not investing in Target. Full disclosure, I do have an equity position in Amazon because I think that they are going to take over the world, but I just don't see it. This makes zero sense to me. For those of you that can't hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, this makes zero sense to me.
At designated times throughout the day, the garage doors open and drivers flood in. Workers push the carts out.
You mean I got to get a dude that's pulling up in a Nissan Altima delivering my package talking about they running efficient? Stop it, bro.
For load-in. Target uses analytics and data to build its delivery routes, but the thing that keeps your order moving through the sortation center is low-tech. It's this, the label on every package.
Each team member throughout the process is looking for specific visual cues that inform them which area the package will transition to. So in the initial pickoff, I'm looking for target last mile delivery, or TLMD, or something else. If it's target last mile delivery, I'm sending it down the path to a partition sort. During the partition sort, I'm looking for what partition number, and then I'm pulling those packages off, staging them on pallets that coincide with that partition number. Following the route sortation, we're going to get a specific route number, a specific package stop, and then the lane and specific location of the cart that coincides to the route.
Those details keep orders moving through the facility fast.
I miss it, honestly. I miss, as a person that considers himself a C student, I missed every single thing that he said. I checked out after he said last minute delivery. It was a number at the top of the thing. I missed the whole thing. I missed the whole thing. You not gonna convince me that manually doing this is more efficient and a better business model, especially long term, considering that Amazon and Walmart is going to continue to innovate. I mean, they got drones delivering it straight to your door within 2 hours after you click. 11 seconds. 11 seconds on average for some of these facilities at Amazon. Within 11 seconds of you hitting purchase on your device for purchasing a product, they already have their robots and artificial intelligence going to pick it and sending it over into a drone to be able to deliver it straight to your door. And you telling me that this makes more sense? What am I missing? I don't know anybody. Somebody in the chat help me to remember and help me to understand. What am I missing? Now that you guys have a back-end understanding of what the delivery model is and why it makes sense, somebody tell me, what am I missing compared to what it is that we've been teaching you and having a conversation about, as far as Amazon is showing you that, Aldi showing you that, Walmart showing you that, and the technology that's going into it and how they continue to leverage whatever it is that they're doing in order to do so. Somebody help me to understand where I'm missing it.
Since Target opened its first sortation center in 2020, the company says that next-day deliveries have increased by more than 150%. Now the retailer has 10 of these centers across the U.S.
They say it's a more efficient way to handle many more deliveries. That sort of by like getting them out of the store, getting them closer to people's homes, into a place that is specifically designed for drivers or delivery services to pick things up, they can process many more items at a more profitable rate.
That has allowed us to save tens of millions of dollars over the last few years since we've opened these buildings.
But Target's strategy isn't just about lowering costs.
But that's a white lie. And the reason why it doesn't allow for you to save tens of millions of dollars is because you only slice in a pie one way. So you can say, well, it allows us to save tens of millions of dollars on this end. But then what is the labor and the cost to actually stand this type of stuff up from an infrastructure perspective? Because now they're trying to build the delivery warehouses and temporarily use their stores, the 2,000 plus stores, in order to store these products to get it out to you almost directly the same day or the next day or whatever it is, what it is. How much is it costing from an investment perspective? And this is the thing that I'm going to do a deep dive with you guys on. I don't want to stay on this too long because I got another segment that I want to share with you guys before we get up out of here. How much is it costing you to stand up? How much investment is it taking for you to stand this thing up in order to try to build out the infrastructure that they're already light years ahead of you for? So I'm going to do a little bit of research. I'm going to figure out what's going on, and then I'm going to keep you guys in the loop. But that's just a little bit of what's going on and what interests me and why I do the research that I do, so that we can have these conversations. And me being a C student, maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it. Tech Coach Ralph is in the building and says, I reviewed an article this morning of Amazon launching Amazon Q, an AI chatbot for companies. I'm going to be sampling out the integration with AWS. Hey, keep me in the loop, Tech Coach Ralph. Keep me in the loop because I'm curious to learn more about that. Greatness to Work is in the building says, HEB is better than, HEB is better than Walmart in Texas. Okay. I see you. Space is in the building says, I do deliveries for Walmart as supplemental income, so I see firsthand that both men and women use it for orders, women more than men though. Okay, thank you for the insight. Thank you, Spaces. Little Black Duck is in the building. Said logistics manager here. Target setup is a mess. There you go. So I don't know. They got a lot of moving parts, and it's very interesting for us to see. I want to share one more thing that ran across my algorithm today. And I have not watched the video. I have not reviewed the video. I watched the first 15 seconds of it just to make sure it's something that I would check out. Because I want to review it in real time. But there's a woman. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. It's a woman that basically dropped a video on YouTube, and I'm going to give her credit. So let me pull up the video very, very shortly before I say, Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Teach. Make sure you get to Teach Hanley. Ladies, don't delay. Fellas, don't wait for your ladies to go and get it for you. Make sure y'all support the sponsor of the show, Teach Hanley. I love Teach Hanley personally. Also, on top of that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I just dropped a video based off of the pitches that people gave me, in which we spent. We're sending out over $21,000 at the beginning of next week. As long as we get all of y'all information and the emails, make sure y'all check y'all emails for those of y'all that pitch me. We sending out all of the checks next week, so that should be cool. Hopefully electronically. Some of y'all might have to get regular mail depending on what you say, but yeah, we're going to get there. So a woman basically said that she was quitting her $275,000 a year job. It's over $250,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. That's over $250,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. The woman's name is Simone B. B's Government, Tech, and Lifestyle. Again, she has 21,000, almost 22,000 subscribers. Recently dropped this video. It came across my algorithm. Her name is Simone with a Y. B's. We want to give her a little bit of a shout out. If you go over to her channel, when you tap into her comments, make sure you tell her that Anton from AntonDaniels.com reviewed her video and sent you over there her way. But she said she recently quit, not got fired, not got laid off. She said she recently quit her $275,000 a year job. All right. So I want to go into this. I want to share it with you guys, and I want to review it in real time. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's see what she got to say.
I quit my $275,000 year tech
Let's speed
job.
it up a little
Yes, the job was good. Yes, the money was great. And yes, I could have gotten paid even more. But as you'll soon find out, I still dropped it all and said, I gotta go. I'm making this video for anybody who was in the same position that I was in when the thought of quitting my high-paying tech job first crossed my mind. If this sounds like you, you're not alone and it's okay to quit. And for those who have yet to get their first 100K plus year tech job, take this video as a reminder that sometimes money does not justify sticking around. Odds are you might get put in the same position that I was in your tech career. You might end up landing that tech job that you always wanted, only to realize that it's just a pair of golden handcuffs. So stick around. I'm going to give you the full rundown of why I quit. If you've been following me on social media,
golden handcuffs for a lot of you guys, and I've spoken about it a lot on my channel, even with regard to a lot of my life that I've been documenting along this journey. Golden handcuffs is largely basically you wanting to leave, but you not being able to leave because of how much money you make in order benefits or whatever it is that they're offering, combined in a package that's basically preventing you from quitting a job because it's so lucrative. And so it basically stops you from being able to start your own business or fulfill your passion or whatever it is that you're supposed to do, right? Golden handcuffs is what people usually refer to as, and a lot of CEOs say it, they stick around a lot longer than they probably want to inside of an environment because they're golden, but they're handcuffs. They're preventing you from going on and doing other things that maybe you would be more successful at, maybe you have a greater purpose of doing, but you got to get to that bag. And so the gold is what keeps you locked into whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and let it play for a little bit because I want to get the full context of what she's saying.
For a while, you know that I do not get personal, and in this video I'm going to get very personal and share details about my life that I've never shared on social media before. But if you don't know who I am, let me first get into why I took this job and how I landed a $275,000 year tech job in the first place. Jobs like this come around once every blue moon, so I had to take advantage of it. I got referred this job from one of my friends who was a staff member inside of my community, so he told me about this job and let me know that it was 100% remote. It was a job for a GovTech cybersecurity startup. They gave equity, they gave bonuses, and they had an extremely high base salary. So it seemed like the perfect job for me and something that I had always been looking for. I've been working in the GovTech industry my entire life, literally since I was 16 years old, and I had never heard of GovTech startups. So when my friend told me about this startup and how they were paying a super high salary and they were giving equity, I felt like I finally hit the jackpot. So here's a rundown of the pay structure. My base salary was $175,000 a year. I had a 10% yearly bonus. I also was able to get equity in the company as well. This is a pre-IPO company and it was already considered a unicorn company. And they focused on cybersecurity in a niche that was really in high demand and a niche that was a part of the Gartner hype cycle. So I figured that this company was a great opportunity for me to come in, get some shares, and get equity in a company that was planning to IPO soon. On top of all of that, the role was 100% remote. So for this to be a GovTech role and it's 100% remote, and with everything all in together, it was coming out around $275,000 a year salary. I felt like I couldn't beat this. It literally had it all. It also had amazing benefits as well. Healthcare was completely free. As a single person, we were able to get our cell phone taken care of, our internet taken care of. We got brand new MacBook computers. Literally anything that you could think of, they had it at this company with this role. So it was so much flexibility and a great opportunity. So I had to jump on it.
I'm assuming that there's going to be a very, 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 very good explanation behind this. I mean, listen, I had to take my glasses off for this one. I'm assuming that there has to be an incredible explanation. Shout out to Simone. Shout out to Simone B. Make sure y'all tap in with her. I've never reviewed her stuff before. I've never seen her stuff before. But I'm definitely becoming aware of it. It's got to be an incredible. All right, so let me break this down for you guys. $175,000 in base pay, okay? 10% bonus, which is basically $17,500. All right, that doesn't even put you at $200,000. And I talk about this in the Patreon on a regular basis. When you're negotiating a lot of these salaries based off of the position that you're getting, you want equity because equity is not even based off of what it's going to be, is based off of the current valuation of the company, meaning that if it's pre-IPO, that's how you get incredibly rich. If it's a unicorn company, that means that the value of the company is going to skyrocket, especially after it IPOs, an initial public offering, meaning that it's going to go to the stock market. It's going to go from a private company over into a public company, meaning that the value of those shares is probably significantly more in the future, depending on what the IPO price is if it's truly a unicorn company. So free healthcare, ooh wee. I don't even know no company that give free healthcare no more. I can't think of one company that I know personally that gives free healthcare and 100, and that's the cherry on top. That made me skip around like a little kid because these remote jobs is kind of going away. When you're talking about they trying to move into hybrid roles and making you come back into the company and stuff, and yo, listen, I'm sitting here with this laptop right here from my regular job. I am very much in a golden handcuff type of situation. But it's a little bit different for me because it doesn't actually slow down what it is that I'm doing on a regular basis, right? But look, everything that she said seems like it's just lined up for you to just get a bag on top of a bag and on top of a bag and on top of bags. You know what I'm saying? Let me hear the rest of the story.
While working at the company, I was able to work with a lot of different government agencies. I had great customers. I had so much experience working at this company where I was able to come in and learn their product inside and out, work with the best government agencies that you could think of, and even go to different conferences where I could learn even more about cybersecurity and also meet with my teammates as well. So we would have in-person company retreats, and some of them—
Shout out to the Rainbow Kids said that their company provide free healthcare.
Be overseas. It was just so much opportunity and so many good things about this company. I really couldn't complain whatsoever. On top of that, my team was full of amazing people. Everybody had a different experience, but everybody was—
Let's keep an open mind,
and they were all willing to help you to learn new things. While I was at the company, I was actually cross-training to become a sales engineer at the company as well. So that was actually my next move. I had the opportunity to make around $500,000 a year as a sales engineer at this company. So I figured—
sound like a good job to me. Sound like, me, you start speaking that money, my shoulders start getting up. I start dancing. Ain't nothing like payday. Listen, it don't matter how small the payday is. When I see that money hit my account, we do the money dance. Money dance. $500,000. Ooh, Simone, baby girl, you're going to have to give me a good explanation of what's going on out here in these streets.
They could not get any better than this. This role was unlike any other role that I ever had before. I was finally on the tech sales side in the government technology sector. This is what I always had dreamed of. My title while working for this company was Senior Federal Technical Account Manager, also known as a TAM. And TAM roles are fairly new within the past 10 years. So to get into these roles, you have to have a great technical expertise on whatever the product is that the company is selling to other either government customers or government agencies or government contractors. You have to be able to be very knowledgeable on it. And it's a customer facing role, so you have to be able to get along with the customer and be able to be that person that is building a relationship with them.
Somebody said, what type of dance is that, Anton? It's my happy dance. When you get a check, that's the happy dance, baby.
Sure that they're happy with the product and making sure that they renew and continue to buy the product year after year. So for me, I'm somebody who loves talking, as you can see. So I felt like this was a perfect way for me to eventually segue into a sales engineer role. While I was at the company, we even hosted our first conference. This was for all of our federal customers. So we held this conference at the Ronald Reagan building in DC. I was able to meet the CEO of the company, and he even shouted me out to the entire company.
I don't even want to skip past it. I want to skip past it to get to the part where she quit, but I just got to see the whole thing.
At one of our all hands-on meetings, so everything was amazing. But even though everything was going great at the company, I had a lot of personal things going on that I never really talked about that made it very hard for me to continue to show up and do a good job at work. I started working at this company in August 2022, and by December 2022, I had to have a major surgery. After having this surgery, I had to be on bed rest for about 2 months, and I couldn't go to the gym for 6 months. So that played a lot into my mental health at the time, and throughout this 6 months, while I was recovering from this surgery, my grandmother ended up passing away. So while I'm going through recovery process, my grandmother passes away. I'm trying to take care of myself and my family, going back and forth between Atlanta to Virginia, trying to make sure that everything was holding together so that we could continue to move forward as a family. On my mom's side of the family,
condolences. I know what it's like to lose a family member at the height of you trying to build up yourself and finally catching a wave. Happened to me in 2017, happened again. Actually, it happened to me twice. I talk about my father passing away in 2017, and it really didn't hit me. But I don't also talk about the fact that your grandmother passed away in 2017, literally, and my grandmother passed away on my father's side shortly before that. It was a lot going on at that time. My whole life seemed like it was in turmoil, but I held that shit together. I'm sorry for the people in the church, my bad. I held that thing together. I had to hold on. We had to hold on. We had to get through it. But condolences to her. I understand what she's going through, but let's continue.
We have a very small family, and it's just 5 of us. So losing my grandmother was a lot. So having to go through that process of losing my grandmother and trying to deal with that grief and just trying to also be there for work and for my customers, it became very difficult. There would be days where I'm at home grieving and literally crying all day, and I still have to show up for my customers, get on the calls, do different deployments and upgrades and checking in on them, making sure everything is good for them. But at the same time, I wasn't okay. And I feel like this is something that isn't talked about much when it comes to remote work. Having to deal with things going on in your personal life, you're working at home, you're at home going through things in your personal life, and you can't really get a break from any of it. So there's really no way for you to escape what's going on in your life because you're working at home 8 hours a day, and then you're at home for the rest of the day as well. So you're literally just sitting in your emotions, trying to process everything and still show up and perform 100% at work. So while I was trying to work through everything that was going on in my personal life, it really just felt like I was trapped in my own emotions. I wasn't able to process everything that was going on, especially because I had to continue to show up at work and be my full regular self, even though inside it was not that way. Inside, I was really struggling, trying to keep up with everything. As people know, I make social media videos too, so I took a very long break from making social media videos. Most people didn't realize it, but some people, they noticed that I stopped making these videos for the Project 50 series that I was doing. So I took a long break from making social media content, and I also wanted to take a break from work as well. While going through the healing process of my surgery and grieving my grandmother, I then started going through the process of a divorce. Going through a divorce isn't easy. At the time, I felt like this was a major failure in my life.
They hit her with the trifecta. Divorce, death, and you going through something as far as injury. Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I know that everybody is on this mental health kick, therapy, and grieving, and give me some time to get myself together. My coping mechanism with anything that go down in my life is actually to dive even deeper into work. Work makes me happy. Creating makes me happy. That is my coping mechanism. A lot of people, they drown in their sorrows and stuff like that. The biggest thing for me is that I have to remain busy and engulfed in being productive because that is where life is. Life is around people. Life is being around people. Life is engaging. Life is continuing to push forward because I largely lean into the idea of let the dead bury the dead because that is a biblical thing, right? I took comfort in the idea that my father was no longer having to deal with all of the nonsense on this stupid earth. And my father died right before Christmas. He no longer had to deal with all of the... We the ones that's suffering down here. We the ones that's suffering. If you believe that your loved one is in a better place, then now I have to really go hard in order to finish and make them proud, right? So I embrace going even harder and working my butt off because if you see me going harder, then it's a possibility that it may be something happening in my life that I have to deal with that you may not necessarily be familiar with. But I also have to take into consideration that at the end of the day, this is a woman. This is a woman. And women, in my opinion, have a much more difficult time, especially because they're much more emotional than men are. They have a much more difficult time being able to cope with a lot of the life changes and circumstances that come along with life events. It's different. It's just different. I'm not willing to leave. Listen, at the end of the day, in my mind, after all of this has passed, I'm still going to be sitting on the mountaintop when everything passes over. I know that mental health is supposed to be a real thing and y'all tapping into therapy and all of that. My therapy is my success. My therapy is my success. The more I become successful, the better I feel as a result of all of these life events that I've then become a victor over. That's how I look at life. I'm just a different creature. I'm a different animal. If you ever want me to work harder, then get on me. Then say I'm not going to be able to do something. Let a life event happen. I'm going to go 10 times harder as a result of it.
And I don't handle failure very well. And when you go through a divorce, it's not an overnight thing. So it takes months. So it's months of back and forth of legal battles, months of back and forth of who's going to do what, who gets what, who is responsible for the divorce. It's just a lot of arguments, and I'm not an argumentative type of person. I'm really a laid back, relaxed person. So going through a divorce on top of grieving my grandmother was just too much for me to handle. So I had these three major things that I was dealing with all at the same time. And at some point, enough is enough. I can only take but so much. And I was not able to show up for work, show up on social media, and still show up for myself. So I figured it was time for me to try to take a vacation. I wanted to take a 4-month vacation from my job, and as anybody knows, I can't really take a 4-month vacation if I'm in a customer-facing role. And I hadn't been at the company for a year yet to try to do any long-term sabbatical or any type of mental health break. So I talked to my manager, let her know what was going on. She told me to take days off as I needed them, but I really needed at least 4 months off. I wanted to take off the rest of 2023. Around the time that I started thinking about this vacation that I needed so I could actually take a mental break and focus on myself, there was an opportunity for a sales engineer role that became available, and I would have gotten paid $500,000 if I stuck around for it. But I had to prioritize my mental health, and I had to prioritize everything that was going on in my personal life before I could try to show up and be a sales engineer, because that is even more of a customer-facing role. And I prefer sales engineering over a TAM role just because at that company, as a TAM, we did not get any commission. So since we didn't get commissions, we did not get those large checks like the sales engineers got. Even though I personally believe that TAMs should get paid a commission because we are a big reason why the customers end up renewing year after year. We're showing up, working with the customers on a weekly basis. I felt like we should get commission. So if I was working this hard, I figured I'd rather be a sales engineer and make the big bucks. Why would I not want to get paid $500,000 to do proof of concept and demos and go out and meet customers at different conferences? That's something that fits better with my personality, but they wouldn't let me go for the role because I hadn't been at the company for 12 months yet. Since quitting my job, I have prioritized mental health, and I've been going to a therapist every single week.
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, Simone. Baby girl. You need a real one in your life. You should have been a bag chaser, baby. I would have talked you off of that ledge. Baby girl. Hey, S-Dot. Come over here, man. Listen, you gonna be good in the morning. Make sure you call me in the morning, get your butt up and get your back. Go get that. I'm not giving up my job for no therapist. You can forget it. Me, Ton Dog does not believe in giving up his job for no therapist. You know what you can do. I don't believe that mental health is unhealthy enough for me to give up my $275 or half of M a year for no therapist. I got retail therapy. That's how you fix that. Listen, they got a therapist. His name is Javier over at Gucci. Javier over at Gucci can help us with this. Pamela over at the authorized Rolex dealer can help fix this problem. I promise you. Go buy a new car. Go get you a new Patek Philippe. Go do something. But we not quitting our job, and we don't believe in mental health to that extent. I'm not a believer in mental health to that. Listen, I'm compassionate. I love you. But me's, Harpo, what's mental health? I don't believe in mental health when it comes to it affecting my financial situation and my obligations. Mental health? Who's that, Harpo? Who's that mental at my door? I don't want nothing that got to do with mental at my door when it comes to messing up my money. What, my money? You could forget it. Flat out. I was hoping this didn't come to this. You know what I used to say? My dad wouldn't want me to quit my job. Not for him. Listen, if anybody in my family, if I'm that meaningful to you, soldier on. You got my permission right now. Don't quit your job for me. If something ever happened to me, you push. Use it as motivation. But if something ever happened to me, don't stop. Don't do it. You fix it when you get off of work. But while you at work, you put that time in, flat out.
She's been helping me process all of these emotions and everything that I go through because I have a lot of stress in my life. I have to be able to have some type of outlet and somebody who can help me with all of the things that I'm going through. I've also been able to prioritize having more fun instead of working all day long, because working at my job and making content and helping other people get into six-figure tech roles is an all-day job in itself. So there would be many days where I would be working 18 to 19 hours a day, working my full-time job and helping.
That's why they got weekends. That's why they call it the weekend. They got a whole artist named after it. That's why it's called weekends. Reading that super chat shortly, Victor.
Others get into tech. So now I'm able to manage my time better, and I'm finally going after the dreams that I've always wanted to go after. I'm building a government contractor company with my dad, and we are going to be going after government contracts. So I'm extremely excited to be able to do this with him because he has a lot of government tech experience. He has a lot of contacts in the government technology space, and he's a disabled vet. So that's going to allow us to get more opportunities while we're going after these contracts. So instead of me focusing on...
I understand you're going after the contracts, but I believe in an and, not an or. My life philosophy is and, not or. I believe that I can get all of the money. And if I could go out and make some additional monies more than what it is that I've already allocated my time to, don't think for 1 second that I'm turning one check down. I believe in and. I can do this and go after that at the same time until it is replacing fully what it is that I got going on over here. I believe in and, not or. Somebody in the church say amen. I believe in and, not or.
On being a sales engineer and making money for somebody else's company, I can focus on doing those same sales engineer tasks and do them for my own company. Why make millions for somebody else when I can do it for myself? When you get to the point of working in the GovTech space, and when you've been in this space for at least 10 years, most people end up cutting out the middleman, and the middleman is when you work for a government contractor company and they're getting paid 3 times what you're getting paid from your company. You can cut them out completely and start getting your own government contracts and putting all of that money into your own pocket. On top of building the government contracting company with my dad, I also have more time to spend on brand deals as well. I work with different Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, AWS, ServiceNow, so many different companies that I've worked with over the past year, and now I'm making $30,000 to $50,000 a month making this tech content for these brands. So instead of me being stressed out trying to work my job and do these brand deals, now I can focus more on doing the brand deals and running my own company. I'm also building the biggest GovTech educational company out there.
Maybe it work out for her. Maybe I'm off. For me, I want them both. I want the brand deals, I want the government contract, and I want my regular job. You know, I actually have a video inside of the Patreon that speaks to how to solve for this so that you can continue to make $500,000 to $1 million a year based off of a very simple and a very easy life hack. The problem with people in a lot of instances is that they try to be Superman and Superwoman, and they try to do it all themselves instead of, well, I can't even really go into it because that's Patreon only content of how I leverage certain things in order to make an additional amount of money as a result of it. But my point is this, is that I don't have to sacrifice that. This is my thing. I don't have to, and congratulations, sir. Get that bag, baby girl. Do your thing. Congratulations and all of that. I don't believe that I have to forego that in order to get this over here. The way that my brain works, my C-student brain works, is I'm trying to understand how I can get that and that. Now, if I have to take a little less money in order to source it out appropriately, then I'm going to figure out how to do that or whatever. But I just believe in the and. I want every single dollar that's coming to me. I want it. I want it. But, you know, if she's making $400,000 to $500,000 to $600,000 a year as a result of what she's doing right now, she's still getting the bag. So do your thing.
There with the goal of training 1,000 people and helping them get into GovTech by the year 2025. I've helped hundreds of people get into GovTech and make 6 figures already. I figured that I might as well go all in on this and help as many people as possible. The work that I'm doing, educating people and helping them get into GovTech, is also allowing me to do enterprise educational deals as well. So I'm helping different enterprise companies build their learning curriculum to help their employees get into GovTech as well. So this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm extremely grateful to be able to help so many people and now help different companies as well train their employees get into the GovTech industry. To top it all off, I'm holding a major GovTech conference in DC next year that I cannot wait to share with you all. This conference is going to have...
Nice. Good for her. Good for her. Shout out to Simone. Again, make sure that y'all go over to her channel. Her name is Simone B. Bees. That's Simone with a Y. B, you can see it right there at the top of her video. Bees, B-E-E-Z, and then it's GovTech and Life. Go over there, tell her that I sent you. It's my first time ever seeing her. So she seems as though she got a lot of good insight. Shout out to her and shout out for her for continuing to recover. I hope that her life is absolutely awesome. I'm always an advocate for people being successful and giving additional insight into what it is that we got going on. Maybe I can get her, maybe I'll do an interview with her. See if you can reach out to her and then we can try to get her on the platform because I'd love to have a conversation with her. That's interesting. Because we got some people that's a part of the Bag Chasers that's in a Discord that talk a lot about government contracts. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Teach Henley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Let me read some of these super chats. William Lucian says, Anton, when you were fresh out of college, what was your first tech job and how much were you getting paid? My first job wasn't out of college. My first job was while I was still going to school. I started working at the University of Michigan. I was making 60. Actually, yeah, I was making something like that, but I went in as a contractor and then I wound up getting hired in as a full-time employee, and a woman that wound up getting me hired in was my manager, and she wound up dying of cancer. But before she died, she wound up, one of her final things that she did was making sure that I got hired in and I got my benefits package and everything like that. So I was making like $60-something thousand a year, but one of the benefits for me working at the University of Michigan, and the reason why I chose the University of Michigan instead of going into something that made me six figures immediately was because I didn't need the money in order to maintain my lifestyle because I was already making money from my businesses, which allowed for me to basically deploy all of the resources that I was making from the University of Michigan back into my businesses. In addition to that, what it allowed me to do was I leveraged the benefits. So I took the University of Michigan also because I was able to double match my 403B, and they were paying for me to go to school and continue to get my bachelor's degree. So I went to community college. As I got out of community college, I started working at the University of Michigan. The University of Michigan supported me by continuing to pay for me to go to school, which allowed for me to not have to come out of my pocket or take any student loans in order to continue my education, right? So there's a life hack depending on your life circumstances that allow for you to leverage, get the experience, and if you don't have to live off of the money or you're looking at it more from the benefits or the long-term perspective, you can become much more successful. But again, everybody's life circumstances require a different set of needs based off of where it is that you're trying to go from a direction perspective, right? So again, double match my 401k. They paid for me to continue to go to school. And I didn't need the money or the salary because when I started doing the numbers, it didn't make sense based off of what I was going to be taking home versus what it was that I was generating from my businesses, right? So for me, having multiple streams of income and continuing to deploy resources into my businesses was more important than continuing my education based off of where I wanted to go in corporate America versus what it is that I was trying to take home at that particular time. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted the experience and I wanted the benefits that came along with it because I didn't need the money in order to survive at that particular time. So it was a pretty interesting decision, but that was a really great question. Shout out to William Lucian. The Wealth Building Journey says, this is why therapy is so critically important. I don't know about that. Jay Ben in the building says, if your job hiring at $275,000 a year clip, holla at me. Holla at me. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I get all of the super chats to read to make sure that everybody gets acknowledged as a result of it. All right, let me read a couple more of these. That's my dog, Jay Ben. Shout out to that. Jake Fever says, you should have married a man. Women leave you. Oh, my God. We don't know if she was married to a man or a woman, so we can't just make that assumption. So, come on, Jake. You got to do better. Chris J says, condolences, but this was an emo bad decision. Well, she recovered, I guess, but I don't know. I just wouldn't have played it like that. I'd have played it a little bit differently. Victor says, slaves never took mental health days. Who are we to I feel you, Vic. Shout out to you. Jake Fever says, when she was providing like a man, relationship was good. One bad day and a wife of hers seen him. Okay, Jake, how do you know that she was married to a woman, number one? Because we just talking purely from a business perspective. We're not necessarily talking about, she didn't talk about anything as far as the details of their relationship, so we can't use that in order to disqualify or qualify her argument. J. Ben says the biggest fumbler of 2023 after the city of Chicago, $500,000 a year. What mental? I'm in rentals, proving money is instrumental. Airbnb and Turo Health. Shout out to you, J. Ben. I appreciate you. Victor says we spoke too fast. She got the last laugh. No, we didn't speak too fast. We were just adding context as we understood it. Nick says I saw this last week and I was like, what the F? You better bury that deep down. Yeah, shout out to Nick. Wealth Building Journey is in the building, says Ton, a disabled minority veteran small business owner, 3 out of 4 here myself, not disabled in the government contracting GovCon space, could literally make millions of dollars starting year one. Maybe I need to. This is a sign. Maybe God want me to start evaluating going into the government contract space. Darnell is in the building, says, I believe her ex-wife is so she did talk to a girl. I believe her ex-wife is a psych NP, Morgan San Diego, and probably told her to go see a therapist after serving her them papers. Shaking my head, prayers for all parties involved. Getting deep. It's getting deep. Well, I'm going to stay out of her personal business because I don't know. That's not what she shared in the video, so I'm just going to be a little bit more careful about that because I just want to be respectful, all right? So, I love you guys. I appreciate you. It's been an excellent and awesome show. Information filled. I encourage you guys to tap into the live stream that I'm doing tonight at like between 9:45 to 10 p.m. Eastern. It should be a great show, an excellent show. I know Tam is in the Patreon, Brittany. That's my girl. Tam is in the Patreon. Shout out to you. It should be a great show, and I think that it'll be pretty entertaining. Again, we're going to just stay above board, and we're going to chill. We're going to have a good time as a result of it. Hopefully, I continue to add value into you guys' lives. I love you. I appreciate you. But you know what it is. You know what I'm going to ask you to do. I need you to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, y'all. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to ask that you guys continue to rock out with each other, and then make sure that you hold us down. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tap in tonight. I'm going to see y'all tonight. Peace.